Oh, there's freedom. Oh, there's freedom. Oh, there's freedom. Let's talk about freedom. Remember who you are. Freedom. Let's talk about freedom. Past and future self now. Freedom. Let's talk about freedom. This moment. Remember who you are. Freedom. Let's talk about freedom. Past and future self now. Outer freedom is not always given. Inner freedom is how we start living. Outer freedom is not always given. Inner freedom is how we start living. Soul, source, love, freedom. Let's talk about freedom. Remember who you are. Freedom. Let's talk about freedom. Future self now. Freedom. Let's talk about freedom. This moment. Remember who you are. Freedom. Let's talk about freedom. Past and future self now. Outer freedom is not always given. Inner freedom is how we start living. Outer freedom is not always given. Inner freedom is how we start living. Soul, source, love, freedom.
Recording in progress.
What's up, everybody? You guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Make sure. Leland, what's up, my brother?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
At the voice of a man who needs a microphone in front of him, right there.
There you go. You got it.
Russ, what's up, my brother? How are you?
Hey.
And Karen, how's it going?
Hey,
Good.
Robbie. Good
How
to
are
see you.
y'all?
You too. You too. I like the glasses. They look good on you.
I'll tell you. Pink is my color.
Looks good. That's me too. Apparently, right now, I got stuck on the beach. I was just pushing stuff for tonight, and I was on the beach in front of the sun a little too long again. Kevin, what's going on, brother? How are you? Good to see you.
Good.
Leela,
Hey, hi, Robbie.
how we doing?
Good.
Good,
Hi,
good.
Phil.
Hello.
Hello, Phil.
That's my
Yep.
brother.
Phil, brother from another mother. How are you, my man?
No, he's from the same mother.
Vesna, good to see you again.
Hi. How are you?
Doing wonderful. How are you doing?
Great. I brought my whole family.
Oh, beautiful.
My husband.
Hi, how you doing?
Beautiful. Yeah, we got a great call tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Great.
Mhm.
Great. Rebecca, how are you? Nice to meet you.
How much do you have in store?
Can't say hello. Don't worry about it. I just like saying hello to everybody.
Yes, hello. I'm grateful being here. Thank you.
So welcome. Thank
What do you
you.
want?
You. Christy Locke, what's going on? Let's go. Good to see
Hello.
you. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Kathy, how you doing? Todd, how you doing, my man?
Good. Doing good.
Good stuff. Sean Demian, good to see you, brother.
Robbie.
Soil. Always, I love you so much. You actually are the one that they introduced me to Leland, but you, one of the first people told me I need to introduce myself to him. I remember that.
Keep going in and out.
David, how are you? David Johnson, how's it going?
I'm good. Here, I got my son Joshua with me, if you remember him.
Represent Nashville in the house. What's up, buddy?
It's good. He's got a haircut since the last time you saw him.
Yeah, he does. He looks a little older too. Yeah. Very cool. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too. See you, everybody.
Dathel Golden, is that Dathel or Dathel? Is that Dathel?
Yes, it's Dathel.
Dathel, nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Lala, how are you? I said Leela.
Hey.
What's going
Hey,
on?
I'm good. I'm driving right now, but I'm on my way home. I'm just leaving my local Dr. Joe meditation group.
Oh, nice. So you're bringing some good positive frequency to this call. Not that we need it anymore, but might as well take as much as we can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Christina C. Nice to meet you. Hello. If you can't speak, don't stress. I just like to say hello to everybody. Edie.
Oh yeah, I can speak. Hi. Thanks for
How you doing?
Of course. Edie, Jillian, how are you?
Hello. Good.
Good. Teresa, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yes.
Hi, Robbie.
Tatiana, how are you?
Recording in progress.
Suzanne,
Fine. Thank you.
good to see you. Thor, what's up, my brother? How are you?
I'm great, Robbie. Good to be here, man.
Good stuff. So I'm gonna have you and Kathy lined up for a quote before we get started.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't know why I just thought of that, but I'm glad I thought of it.
Good idea.
Yeah, Panda, what's going on? Susie, Lee, are you still in Denver? If you could talk, if not, don't stress. Arsa, good to see you. Ilka, what's going on? I don't know, Ilka, I don't know if you heard, I was playing our kaleidoscopes.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was playing them for a little bit.
Oh,
I was getting prepped.
hi. Good to see you.
Okay.
Lots of new names here. I love it. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. From Lee, just leaving Dr. Joe week-long in Denver. I'm at a restaurant in the airport, so I won't be talking. I'll be talking for you, so don't worry about it. So you keep talking, I'll keep talking for you. Natasha, how are you? Always great.
Good. How are you, my friend?
Let's go. So from Lauren, hi, calling in from San Francisco Airport. My flight is delayed until midnight. Good to be here. Let's go. Mount Shasta. Can't wait to hear all about it when you get home. Bruce Lipton in the house. Good stuff. Jeremy, how are you, my friend?
I am well, and yourself?
Good, man. Good to see you. Dana, hello to Dana. Lynn, Mary Claire with your beautiful voice and presence.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
Let's see. Mevludin. Hello, Mevludin. Good to see you. Elizabeth Paz. Nice to see you as well. Nina, good to see you too. I know a couple of your friends are on this call. Thanks for the referrals. It's always great to have new people in this community, like-minded. Say, John.
I have to tell,
Oops, sorry.
I have to tell you that Stephanie Brock, I don't know if you know her. I met her in Paris at a Joe event and then met her again in Cancun. And she said, you have to be on this call no matter what. I'm in the Netherlands, but you have to be on this call. So I'm looking forward to meeting all of you guys.
Beautiful. Yeah, we got a great call tonight. We do this every Sunday at 8 p.m. They're called Sunday Night Journey. And we have people within our community that just take us on the journey that they've been, you know, pre-Dr. Joe, current, and where they're going. And Leland, we're so fortunate that Leland had time for us to just share his story. So much going on, and such a great guy. And his story just needs to be heard. I'm not sure if Bev is in here. Bev was the guest last week. Let me see. Why is it showing? So Bev was our guest last week, and just pure inspiration. Like it's still pouring into this week. Every time we have a guest on this call, it's like not only does it change the lives of people who get to listen to it, but it also changes the lives of every guest. Just being able to share this on a platform with everybody, it's really powerful. Really, really powerful. And it's all real. Really, really good stuff. All right, so it's 8:05 right now. I'm just going to run through a couple things, and then Leland will probably get started around 8. I'd say like 8:10, 8:12. But yeah, so let me just run through some things as I always do. We do a bulletin. We do a bulletin board within our community when things are going on. I just like to give shout outs to everybody within our community if they're doing stuff. We're going to start doing quotes of the night. So if you guys meditate with us every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern time. Kathy does the quotes every morning at 5 a.m. And my man Thor does the quotes every morning at 11 a.m. or every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we're just going to start incorporating that into this call just to bring that energy, just to get things going. So I guess without further ado, Kathy, ladies first, would you like to share your quote of the night?
Sure.
Well, thank you.
How cool is it that the divine force who created mountains and oceans and galaxies looked at you and thought the world needs one of you too?
Ooh, wow. It's a great one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love it. Thank you for that. And Thor, you want to hammer him home with another quote?
I will. And I will say that I think a lot of people in this group will understand this quote more than most. So quote for the night is, greatness does not come from trying to achieve the possible.
4 minute mile, baby.
4 minute mile, baby.
Let's go. I love it. Short and sweet. I love it. Thank you for that. Thank you. So on that note, really quick, inspirations of the week. I don't know if you're in our community, but Thor just posted, Thor, AKA Jim Fairchild, just posted some photos of taking 10 steps out of his chair. I think you said it was the first time making those efforts since Nashville, correct?
Yes. And that's actually the first time I've stood up, not at a Dr. Joe event.
Wow.
So standing up on my home soil.
I love it. I love it.
Overcoming the environment, overcoming all that stuff.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you for sharing that. And also, I want to give a shout out to Russ. I don't know if anybody saw the video that he posted the other day, moving like a smooth criminal across his kitchen. It's really beautiful to watch. So thank you for sharing that.
You bet, Robbie. Smooth criminal. Thank you for that. That's we'll get the local police after me.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that song in the background of the video. I'll do that.
Like a thief in the night, a smooth criminal.
Yeah. Stuff.
MJ.
So inspirational. Thank you so much. All right, so bulletin board stuff. Again, thank you, Thor and Russ, for your inspiration every time. You guys just show your face. You're bringing your A game all the time. So thank you. So bulletin board. So Dot Connecting Morning Warriors. We do stuff every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. This week, we're going to start doing the BOTEC series. We're going to go 1 through 10, then 10 through 1. So we're going to maybe vice versa, each, if we do 1 at 5 a.m., we might do 2 at 11 a.m. and then vice versa. But I'll figure that out. But just so you know, we'll be doing that. And if you're not in the community, feel free to reach out to me if you like to be a part of that. And every Wednesday, don't forget. So Christy Locke, she does Surrender with Christy Breathwork every Wednesday at 11. She's going to start doing it at every Wednesday instead of every Friday now, as well as Murad. So every Wednesday, it's going to be a pretty unique experience outside of the box of Dr. Joe. So anybody who's interested in that, just also hit me up as well. And then another announcement. So we have Jeremy on the call. And coincidentally, Jeremy actually, he coordinates a group where he does breath work, Willful Warrior breath work. So I wanted to give him the platform really quick just to talk about it if anybody's interested in it. You're going to learn a lot more about Leland if you don't know about Leland, but Leland is a Willful Warrior, and Jeremy actually does his practice and coordinates a group. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew about that. So Jeremy, do you got about 30 seconds to just talk about that real quick?
Thanks a lot, Robbie. Thanks for what you do here. Thanks for all the good juju. It's awesome. Very, very, very much gratitude in being the highest state of receivership. So yeah, I found out about Leland back in October when he gave one of his free self-love Saturdays. And then I set out into a group to talk about having some accountability, and like 2 people responded. And then the next thing you knew, it grew. And I've just been tipping my hat and in much gratitude towards Leland. Is a man of integrity who, just like Joe, has like an amazing story and has a light of love, heart of service, who just does amazing things and is so passionate and generative and wise and skilled. I have this community on WhatsApp. It's just, I'm running it. That's all that it is. I'm trying to be a servant leader. If you're interested and you'd like to be a part of it, it's more like a challenge. It's more like do the work, come do the breath, come join our community to be someone who's doing the breath work. But I would ask you, I will post on the dot connectors. I know this is more than 30 seconds. I'm sorry, Robbie.
That's all good. Good. Keep going. You got it.
I will post on the dot connectors something tomorrow so you can learn more about it. But please come directly through me, through WhatsApp, because I want to know everybody's name and I want to welcome everybody to the community. I like to keep it intimate and safe. I want everybody to feel supported in being a warrior. So thank you so much.
Awesome. And what time is it daily? It's 1
Well,
p.m.
Allison is donating her time for that. I will post the actual one pager image that you'll see everything for her timing along with what it's very short. It's just the main thing. I just want people to know the history and why we're here. That's all.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. So thank you, Jeremy, and everybody. Yeah. Feel free to reach out to Jeremy. I love connecting all these dots within our community. It's so great to work together. So thank you for that, Jeremy. All right. So let's see. Without further ado, the man of the hour, probably 2 hours. So really quick, Leland, let me unmute you actually, or ask to unmute you before we get going. I got a really cool story about how I met Leland. Let's see. Sorry, I can't see his face. It's weird not to see his face while I'm talking. There we go. So how I met Leland. So I went to Niagara Falls, and it was honestly one of the most important walks of my life. It was leaving Nashville from like my room all the way to the door. It was the day after the retreat ended, where everybody eats breakfast in the front. I met about like 5 to 7 people in this group right now just from that walk. But I say I had three to 5 people that said to me before I went to Nashville, you have to meet Leland. You guys got to connect. You just got to introduce yourselves. And the week goes by so quickly, and things happen. And then I was on my walk after I met Cosette, after I met my beautiful girlfriend Veronique, after I met who else did I meet? There's a couple other people that I met on that walk. We were eating breakfast at the buffet at front, and then I just saw this guy. So I was like, me and this guy have connected eyes like 4 to 5 times, and we just like kind of nodded each other, patted each other. at the heart. I was like, I got to introduce myself to this guy. So I introduced myself to him, and then he has airdrop. So I don't even remember getting his name. He just airdropped his phone number into my phone. He's like, yeah, this is what my kids taught me. And then later on that night, I was eating dinner with my friend Cecile. I don't know if she's on this call, but I told her my 31 story, and she's like, you got to meet this guy Leland. I was like, oh my God. I was like, you're literally the fifth to seventh person that told me that now at this point. And I was like, you have a photo of him? And then I saw a photo. I was like, holy shit. I cursed on this call. Sorry. I was like, that's the guy that I was talking to for like 20 minutes today, who I just connected with just based off energy. So it was just really cool, just the way that we met. And it was really magical. I wanted to make sure I shared that because it's so important to just connect all these little dots, because things happen, and now we're on a call together, and we're doing some things in the background too, but just to have this call happen right now, it's really, really awesome. So Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much. You guys like edified the hell out of me. I'm buzzing. It's cool you brought up Niagara too, because if we want to like really start the story, it starts in Niagara, and then we'll work our way backward. But I met you. That's where I met Angel. Of course, I was volunteering, and our president now of the Willful Warrior, I met Angel there as well. So just met amazing people, and that was also the conversation that I had in passing with Dr. Joe that kind of put the boot right up my ass, so to speak. Because, he gave me this, of course, he's quick. He ate, and then he has to get to the stage and do his thing. So there wasn't much time to talk. We had a little bit of time to talk in Cancun in June before that one. But essentially, he gave me that same message that he gives us on stage at the end of the retreats, right? I'm only one man. I can't do this by myself. I need you to add your magic out there. And that's exactly what happened. So we're walking the same direction, and he takes just a moment out of his time, which of course made my day, to just remind me, I love seeing you at these things. When are you going to add your magic to the universe? And it had me thinking the whole trip, right? Of course, I was like, oh, you had to go and do that. Now I'm challenged. Now I had been sitting on this. I'd been studying neuroscience and psychology for, well over 10 years at that point. And that was the little spark. So that was like the start of the Willful Warrior. Was we came back from Niagara Falls, and then, yeah, of course, by November, we had everything up and running after that little spark.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, it's funny too, because before this, I was looking through some old photo albums. So as we're talking through our story, I'll show you how young I never was, because I found some pictures of myself in the Air Force, and holy crap, I was looking at them like, who is that baby? Oh my God. So yeah, as we're talking through some of this story here, I'll pull up some of those photos from the military.
Let me make you host right now. Let
Yeah.
me do that so you can have access.
Perfect.
Yes, make host.
And I'm glad you mentioned Russ's video as well, because I got permission yesterday to share it. So tomorrow that's going across all our social media stuff.
Oh.
I have to pump out all of y'all's wins. Russ and Jim and Dana, some of the biggest wins come from some of the most challenged warrior geniuses out there, and you guys are inspiration to even me. So I was super excited to see Dana in here as well, one of our other amazing warriors and Navy veteran. And it's amazing. The best part about this work is those ahas that I get to see in everybody else, right? I love my story, and we'll talk a bit more about it today than I typically do. I just kind of brush over it, so that way I can focus on the breath work and the teaching and whatever you need in your life to elevate your consciousness and elevate your life to whatever place that you'd like to be in. So today is really special because I get to share just a bit more about my story and some of the solid wins and some of the more recent wins as well, which I think helps out a lot, because I know it's easy for me, and most likely you all are the same way, but I typically put Dr. Joe on a pretty high pedestal. And he's reminded us several times, don't do that. I'm a regular person just like you. I fall off the horse. I fall from grace just like everybody else. But it's amazing to be able to watch everybody else climb and gain, especially the small things, just like Jim's video the other day with the peanut butter toast. The small things is where it's at. So it's an absolute honor to be here with all of you guys. One of the places that I typically don't start with the breath work on the Willful Warrior and what it's helped me out with is my childhood. And just really quick, for anybody who hasn't experienced the Willful Warrior breath work just yet, basically the Willful Warrior breath work is ancient breath techniques. There's several modalities in there. There's Tumo, there's Soma, there's double breathing. There's all kinds of different modalities that are all ancient techniques. They've been around for thousands and thousands of years. Even the pull the body out of the mind breath, that's a Qigong technique. It's also a Kundalini yoga technique. There's different ways to do it, but all these things are thousands of years old, right? These cultures understood that if you could intentionally shift the way that you breathe, that you could literally shift the molecular structure of your body as well as the psychological component as well. There's a mental side of that, a huge mental side of that as well. And all I did was, and we'll talk about that in my story, was basically took what I was taught, and then I had to I dug in on the how. Like, I understood why I did it, and you'll understand why I overcame what I've overcome here in just a little bit, but I had to understand the how. I was like, how the hell was that so magical? How is this helping me in so many different avenues, from PTSD and combat stress to everything that I've dealt with in my childhood, to addiction and alcoholism and just all of these things. And it has helped every aspect of that. So I dug into the neuroscience and psychology side, as well as the epigenetics, and now I'm also getting into biochemistry. So now I'm thinking, we'll see how that goes. That's quite a bit to sign up for. Right now I'm on point to get my master's in psychology and then my doctorate in biochemistry. After that, I'll also get my doctorate in neuropsychology. So neurochemistry, neuropsychology. I'm thinking about adding cardiology in there as well, because there's just, whenever you go through the heart math information and you start really studying the connection and the link between the heart and how that's the boss and it runs literally the whole show, then there's a big aspect of that I'm including in there as well. I don't know if I want to get the triple doctorate just yet. Maybe just, studying that stuff. I think maybe the double is enough. But that's what I did to figure out how the hell I overcame what we're about to talk about. And the great part is now it's not just me. We have all these amazing warriors that have already been practicing Dr. Joe's work or doing other work, and then using the breath to elevate their position even further. And it's something that you can use on a daily basis. One of the techniques that I'll teach you guys today is called 60 Seconds to Freedom. So if you haven't seen that yet on social media, don't worry. I'll teach you that technique during this call. And just like the name speaks, it's 1 minute, 60 seconds of your time, and you can make a complete biochemical shift. That's turning down those stress hormones, elevating all those happy, more relaxed hormones, right? And just completely silencing the mind. So it's amazing. But I never really did talk about my childhood. And funny enough, it moves to one of my most recent challenges. Up until last year, like most of us, we either A, don't think about our childhood, or B, just repressed it. We've repressed it so much that it's just become part of the story. It's become part of the program. So anytime any of that stuff comes up, naturally you just push it right back down and you deal with whatever you're dealing with. Well, last year was the first time that I had openly admitted and finally came out with the fact that I was molested and raped as a small child. So it was a very interesting end of the year, and it was a very interesting beginning of the year, because here I am, somebody studying to be a psychologist, also a breath facilitator, teaching other people how to overcome mental illness and neurological disorders and all these other things. And then all of a sudden, it was like I was thrust back to the starting line, like right at the beginning. And thank God I had Angel there with me. And also, we were going through our heart math training as well, which was absolutely huge. Becoming a certified trainer for them helped out with a lot of this stuff. So, of course, divine timing worked out the way that it did. But needless to say, it's the same reason I will tell people not to hold me on too high of a pedestal. Don't even put me up on one either, because I fall off just like everybody else does. And this last like year and a half of dealing with that was just another sign to me that the work always continues. If we are biological computers, this thing's a historical artifact, and this thing is just the best survival expert on the planet, then it's safe to say that we're always running a program, right? It's just, what program do you want to run? Do you want to run the automatic program, or do you want to program what you want in? Just like your computer, you know, you can let all these viruses and everything else just kind of run things the way that it is, or you can step in and put in exactly what you want into that program. So that's what it was, a big awakening for me, and it brought me back to the beginning again, right? So of course I'm a combat veteran, and that comes from, I believe I'm 13th generation. So 13th generation, my father was Special Forces Army and grew up in a household that, it was interesting, to say the least. Dad he was my hero, still is my hero, but he was also the monster of my life. And I'll explain why. We'll dig into that a little more. He was Special Forces Army, so he was a Ranger turned Delta operative. So he saw quite a bit. Desert Storm, Desert Shield. He was the right hand of Schwarzkopf, and saw quite a bit. And he was also around for the Iran-Contra. And all of those things. So it was interesting to grow up with a man that you could just tell life had worn him down. The stress from battle had just beaten him, and it was easy. It's always easy to take stuff out on the people that are close to you, right? So the interesting part is I found compassion at a very young age, because from the age of about 5 years old on, I was just broken and beaten, and I had compassion for him because this thing happened where I'd watch him, and it'd be something as simple as just like spilling the Kool-Aid, and then all of a sudden there was this click, and it was like his eye color would change, everything about him would change, and the next thing you know, Dr. Jekyll came out, or Mr. Hyde came out of Dr. Jekyll, and it was an interesting life, you could imagine, from the age of 5 all the way until 17 years old. I was the oldest of 5. So since I was so used to it and had been used to taking that on, I was the protector of the whole family. If he went after my mom, if he went after my brothers and sister, I'd do whatever I had to do to just piss him off at me, get him back on top of me, because I understood where he was at. I was frightened of him, of course, but everybody else was terrified of him, because they just didn't understand. I got it for some reason at at a very young age. I just understood whatever's going on with him right now is not him. This is not my dad. I can see that. So it was an interesting spot to be in, of course, at the age of 17. I got tired of it. I got tired of being told what to do. So I joined the military. Best way to go when you get tired of being told what to do, join the military. So at the age of 17, I decided to sign up as well, join the Air Force, and signed on as a C-130 loadmaster. So as part of the air crew, we were doing air drops, paratroop drops. I was part of one of the most elite units inside of the military. That's one of the most deployed units as well, the 61st Airlift Squadron. So we got to see some interesting things. So it was a very interesting switch for me. And the moment, oh my God, the moment that I went through SEER training and POW training, which is the specialized training side of things, that's when you start to move in towards special forces and combat training. You go through what's called survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. And POW is prisoner of war training. So when I went through those two courses, that light bulb came on. I was like, my God, if this is just the training side of it, no wonder he was so just beaten down and rotten and mean and mad. I understood everything, because in that moment, they make that training very real. You're being chased by Russian soldiers. They all speak Russian. They have AK-47s. It's a very real exercise that they run you through. So you go through this 2 weeks of hell, and they literally put you in the mindset of you are in another country and now you're being captured. You have to, resist. You have to find ways to escape. moving through the POW training side of things. There's a course literally called Advanced Beatings. Don't have to go into details on that one. You can imagine what that one teaches you. So it's just, I understood more of what he went through. On top of the fact it built in this never give up. I mean, they grind it into you. There's always one more thing that you can do. You're never out of the count. Always try to find a way to escape. Always try to find a way to evade. There's always something. There's always one more thing you can do. Never give up. We're coming for you. You're not alone. Those were all those messages that they really heavily ingrain into you. So that was where moving into one of the biggest challenges of my life, and funny enough, I look at it as one of the biggest blessings as well. Most people look at me like I got a horn growing out of my forehead when I say it, and you'll understand more when I talk about that here coming up. But that is what has driven me through so much of my challenges. And the cool part is working with all of these amazing warriors. I see it in all of you as well, which is inspirational to me, even when I have moments and I'm going through. Because even as, you know, whatever you want to be in your life, a teacher, a mentor, whatever else, you're always learning as well. Always being a student is what I've learned from all of my mentors. So it's interesting and amazing to be surrounded by this group of warrior geniuses who just continues to push on. I mean, you guys are proof that you can literally do anything that you want, and you can get anything that you want in this life. So before I get into the big tamale of my, can you give me sharing capability there, brother?
I think you have it. Hold on. So 2 seconds.
I think you gave it to John, Robbie.
What's up?
I thought you gave it to John.
Oh, give it to John. Oh, great. John.
Oh, good.
Reclaim host. I got it. Okay. Here you go. Be close. All right, John, that was your last chance.
So before I move on to the biggest challenge of my life, I figured I'd show you how young I never was. I swear to God. Can you guys see that okay? Yeah? Okay. There we go. So there's my flight in San Antonio. These are our bunks inside of the barracks. I'll move to, there's Pops. That was our Ranger move Delta. And you'll get a closer photo. Oh my God. I swear to God, I was never this young, guys. Looking at these photos earlier, like this happened after I got your message earlier, Robbie. And I was like, holy crap. Of course, the day that I have something like this, all these pictures pop up on my new computer. So yeah, look at that. Oh my God. Just a baby at that point in time.
How old are you in this photo?
I was just turned 18. So I joined the military at 17 and I had my birthday at basic training.
Wow.
Yeah, so super young in that one. After the specialized training, of course, I moved on to being a C-130 Loadmaster and had it in my head that after Yugoslavia, I was going to announce my intentions to cross-train into what's called pararescue. And pararescue, or combat control, is the Special Forces side of the Air Force. So I'd already been through SEER training, POW training. I got my expert marksman training. So I was being groomed to possibly be a sniper in one of those units. And here in a moment, you'll find out why. I didn't go any further than that, but this is me in the Middle East, right in the middle of Prince Sultan Air Base. We were the first plane into Kenya when the embassy got bombed. We were also part of Operation Northern Watch, where we watched the no-fly zone, and we're supporting the U-2 and spy missions moving into Iraq, like way pre-invasion. Little owl that constantly sat on her computer. Oh, don't look at that. That's a disgusting mess of a room inside of my tent. I can't believe I just showed you that.
It's like my car.
That was a long time ago, I promise. If you saw my house now, it's orderly and neat. Jeez. And then this was jump training, airborne school. So I only got to go through once. I wanted to go through again, and I would have gone through again, and then I would have actually gone through the Fort Benning training as well if I would have made it through Hell Week. This is where you go to practice falling from these parachutes that fall 22 feet per second. So they're not like those regular airfoils that you see up there that, you float down nice and soft. Like, no, these are 22 feet a second. So that way you can get down to the ground as soon as possible. And this is me right back there. My face is hidden. Stepping up, and out you go. So this is a static line, that yellow line that's in the bag right there. That's your chute. You have a reserve chute on the front. As soon as you jump out, that thing rips your parachute out, and out it comes. So yeah, it was interesting that these came up right before this call.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and so the next part of this is it leads me into that big tamale, and these photos, which you're looking at, are photos of ammunition, food, and other things that we drop into troops through airdrops. And there's Albania. So we were tasked to go over to the Kosovo conflict. I don't know if anybody remembers that. For some reason, the news played it down, and it has been one of the most forgotten battles, I think, in Western culture. Yugoslavia invaded a country now known as Kosovo, or, well, former Yugoslavia. Invaded what is now known as Kosovo and Albania. So we were tasked to go over and basically make them stop that. Nicest way to say that. So this was us over Albania dropping off troop loads, ammunition, food, and everything that they might need. Also for the refugees as well. There were like over 500,000 refugees displaced from their homes. So we were doing everything that we could to try to help that region that was completely destabilized. So it was a very, it was an amazing, amazing job. As you can tell, I didn't get one of those just typical jobs. I just, for some reason, I can't. There's just something extra about me in this life. So after we got done in Yugoslavia, we were exiting. We were 17 miles over the Albanian border, so we were in enemy territory. And the Serbs had let us know very happily, it was all over the news, everything else, if you fly your airplanes over our space, we will shoot them down. And they have, and still have, like quite a few SAM sites, which are surface-to-air missiles. So we're exiting the combat area. We just got done with a support and logistics mission. And on our way out, oh, I get a somatic feeling even thinking about it right now, chill in my body. On our way out, the alarms go fucking ape shit. And it's our airborne warning, which means somebody just painted us. And painting means that they've now locked onto us with a laser target and a radar guided target. So they have both laser and radar locked onto the aircraft. And the warning signals are just going nuts in the aircraft. And my job in the very back of the airplane is I have what's called a pickle with chaff and flare. And if anybody's ever seen that before, you've seen like, the cargo airplane with all those flares coming out at once. That's my job whenever we get shot at. So we get lit up by this surface-to-air missile, and the alarms are just going nuts. And you can imagine they build these things so you can't even sleep through it if you wanted to. And I'm in the back window, and something had told me just before then, you should probably get into your harness, because inside of combat areas, we usually create a harness out of our cargo straps so that we can hold into that rear cargo door, and if we need to, force the chaff and flare out. So something told me to get back into the harness because I had been walking around and doing flight checks on our way out just to make sure everything was good. Cargo secured, all our passengers are good. We just picked up a whole bunch of troops and some injured. So I wanted to make sure our medevac was going well and all that good stuff. So sat back into my harness. Alarms just start going absolutely crazy. And in that moment, it may seem counterintuitive, but as the missile is headed towards you, the aircraft actually banks into the missile. And I know that sounds like, what? I did too when I first heard this and we were learning it in training. I'm like, hold on a minute, we're turning into the missile? This makes no sense. But basically the wings cover up the heat blooms from the engine. So that way I can pop out all of that chaff and flare, and then the missile either goes after the flare, which is for heat guided missiles, or the chaff, which are these little bitty pieces of like tin foil and metal that come popping out. So that way radar guided missiles go after them as well. It's a double whammy, just in case they have either or. So we're yanking and we're banking. I mean, we're up and down. This thing was probably the equivalent of like a 12.0 on the Richter scale, something we've never seen and never will see, thankfully, inside of this existence as far as an earthquake goes. But it was absolute insanity. I mean, I was terrified. Everybody else was terrified. And I'm in the window, so they're looking to me for answers. Everybody's ghost white. You know, you've got people with vomit bags coming out all over the place. Everybody's looking to me for answers. I have no answers. I can't even tell you if we're about to survive the next 10 minutes. I'm sorry. So I'm sitting there and I'm pumping out this chaff and flare. And of course, in the military, when you move through combat training and some of these other things that they take you through, they make you just reactive. You know, that's what they want. They want you as a robot. They want you as a machine. They want that program to act, to actually take action. So that way you don't freeze. It's more of a fight. There's no flight and fawn. They teach you all about fight, and they make sure the flight or fawn folks that naturally do that are at the support or the logistics side of things. So had to act in that moment. And of course, I had no answers for anybody. Thankfully, as you can tell, we made it out. They just continued to paint us over and over and over again. It was a show of aggression. Everybody, of course, is crapping their pants. Everybody's ghost white. And it went on for about 8.5 minutes. But you can imagine, just like in our meditations with Dr. Joe, there's this time dilation aspect. It doesn't just happen when you're in meditative states. You can most likely remember a time that you flew off the handle or were in a complete fit of rage, and that same time dilation aspect will happen, right? So of course for us, it felt like friggin' 3 hours of just insanity and constant fear for one's life. Because on the ground, I have my weapons. I can at least hit the deck and return fire. In the air, I've got nothing. I'm screwed. Like, there's nothing I can do. I'm in a cargo airplane. I'm not in a fighter jet. I can't fight back. So that was the last mission on our way out of Yugoslavia. So you can imagine that was quite a parting gift for my first actual battle and my first actual combat zone. So coming back with that, it's funny enough, it dug in and cemented in further that I wanted to be pararescue and that I would announce to my first sergeant and the squadron commander my intention to put in my paperwork and go try out for Hell Week down in San Antonio. Because that had just made my mind up. I was like, dude, I felt helpless. There was nothing I could do there. I'm an expert marksman, and there's literally nothing I could have done for the entire aircraft. Nothing. I could have hit the pickle, and I can hit the chaff and flare, but chaff and flare is, when it comes to flare, you're looking at maybe 30 to 60% possibility of evading. When you're looking at chaff, 30% possibility of evading a radar-guided missile, especially in a cargo aircraft. It's just almost impossible. So that had cemented that for me. That solidified. When I came back, I'm going to Special Forces. I'm going to make sure that there's something I can do, that there's some course of action that I can take, right? And with pararescue is the Special Forces side that are combat medics. And I'm talking about combat medics that will go into places that even the Marines will not go into under heavy fire. That's just what PJs do. There have been plenty of battles that have been around, and I've heard some of the radio chatter where, nothing against anybody that was Army here. I'm just speaking truths and stories here from the past. But combat medics from the Army circling or hovering inside of medivacs, refusing to go into hot LZs because it was super hot. And then over the intercom comes our PJs, because we're on their same frequencies. We're coming in hot. Get your boys ready. We're coming to pick you guys up. I mean, these guys would go into the most ridiculous situations just to make sure that we could get our people out of there. And their motto was that others may live. So I was set on that intention. But of course, I had some things to get rid of, as you can imagine. There was a little bit to offload as far as some stress goes. The PTSD, the combat stress, it's a real thing. I mean, from that moment forward, it still happens to me now occasionally, but there's no night terror behind it. It's just it's a movie that plays. I mean, it's a memory, so it's in there. It doesn't have control over me like it did in the past, but you can imagine in the past, especially at the age of 19 years old, there was no closing my eyes. The moment I fell asleep, that would just play in my head. I would hear the whistles. I would hear the bells. I would hear all the commotion and screams and everything going on from people inside of the aircraft. And then I would feel the sweat, and I'd wake up in pools of sweat, or I'd wake up screaming myself, or it was interesting to deal with at that age, at the age of 19. And this is what our soldiers now are dealing with, right? So many young kids are dealing with that in the military. And then, of course, all of our combat veterans who come out of that, like my father, are marred by it for life, typically. So I had to do something. And we have what's called R&R. So they gave us a 3-day pass. I was still active duty, but they give you 3 days to just go blow off steam. And you can imagine there's no, I'm just going to go ride a moped, or, I'm going to go ride a bike or go for a hike or something at that point in time. We're high rev. We're jumping out of airplanes. We're shooting things. We're used to doing the high rev adrenaline junkie type stuff. So we decided to go to the lake in Arkansas. I was stationed at the Rock there. And we decided to get the fastest watercraft we could find and get pulled on an inner tube behind it, because that sounded like an epic idea. I mean, who doesn't go 60 miles an hour getting pulled behind an inner tube? So that was where everything changed for me, because in the middle of it, I goaded my buddy to take it up. I was like, come on, man, this is like kid stuff here. Take it up. Stop being a pussy. And he did. He yanked that thing all the way to the front, and I could feel it. And the moment that the thing started skipping, the inner tube was skipping on the water, that was when it set in. I was like, oh, shit, this is not good. And there was no way to signal him to slow it down, because I could barely hold on in the little moments that this thing was touching down on the water. And in that moment, he cut it left, and I just knew this was not going to be good. And you can imagine the inner tube just ripped right out from underneath me, and I went sailing off in the direction. All I remember was the water coming up at high speed, and then pop, that was it. I blacked out. And if you don't know this, whenever you hit water at high speeds, it's like hitting concrete. It really is. There's no give to it whatsoever, especially over like 40 to 50 miles an hour. So I hit the water, and people on the shore said that I looked like a folding chair, just over and over and over again for like a football field, just back and forth, bending in ways the body should never bend. Settled face down in the water, which is, I guess I could also be a commercial for the right life vests that flip you up, because mine held me up, but I was bobbing face down. So as you can imagine, I had no anything. I was out. Completely out. So at that point in time, I'd sucked in water, and by the time they pulled me to the shore, I was declared dead. I was gone for 3 minutes and 48 seconds, and they had to revive me right there on the shore. And in that moment, I had one of the most peaceful experiences. I had one of those out-of-body experiences, and it was so peaceful. It was like coming home. And now you know where the name of the method that I've created comes from. It's called the Welcome Home Method for a reason, because when you do the breath work, you can find those elevated states of consciousness to where you silence the mind down, to where there's no wants, there's no needs, there's no desires, there's just isness. It's just being and knowing, and that's all. Isness is the best way I can describe just being.
So powerful.
Yeah. So it's, I watched him revive me, and it was cool too, because, I described it to my friends, and they're like, how the hell did you know that? And I'm telling you, I watched him do it. It wasn't typical chest compressions with breaths. Like, he took his knuckles and gave me the biggest punch right in the chest, right over the heart, and then proceeded to do this xylophone action up and down and up and down and up and down until he got my heart going again. So thankfully, he brought me back, and extreme contrast from the most peaceful moment that I've ever had in my life to bam, getting slammed into my body, waking up into the ambulance, and there I am with this horse collar around my neck. Extreme pain right at the occipital lobe, which is that, the very base of your skull right there. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Panic is somewhat set in. I'm still kind of woozy and coming to, so I don't really know what's happening, but all I know is that I can just move my eyes. My head is trapped. There's nothing going on that I understand right now. Then I finally come to, and I wake up to the EMT asking me if I could feel that. over and over and over again. And then finally, after like the third time, I was like, dude, what are you talking about? He goes, oh God, I've been stabbing you with this needle all over this legs, upper body, everything, arms. You're not feeling that. And that was when the sheer terror set in. That was when panic set in, because I realized, holy shit, where's my body? Where's my hands? Where's my feet? I can't feel my chest. I don't even know where my stomach is right now. What the hell is happening? And thankfully, I know it may be substantial to a lot of folks, but for me, thankfully, it was a contusion. It was nothing like some of our warriors have had to deal with, which is either a complete spinal injury or which is where the cord severs, or a compression of the spinal column. Thankfully, mine was from C1 and C2. Vertebral impact created about a silver dollar size contusion or bruise on the spinal column. So it shut everything down. But you can imagine, and ask anybody that's dealing with or dealt with paralysis, 1 hour of that shit is way too long, because I was losing my shit. I was freaking out at that point in time. That's when the self-loathing started. The woe is me. I could not stop bawling my eyes out. Once we got to the hospital, they did the MRI, found the contusion, had finally diagnosed the issue, and then told me, well, this is 1999, when neuroplasticity was just kind of taking hold, right? It was still considered taboo towards the beginning of the 90s, and then finally around that, the late 90s, neuroplasticity had taken over, had become a thing, but they were still on this kick of, you can't heal nervous tissue. You're stuck with what you got. I'm sorry. There's no fixing nervous tissue once it's damaged. So you can imagine, I allowed the woe is me to be probably the biggest part of my life for a good 2 days. I mean, it got to the point where I was asking friends to just kill me. And I understood one of the things that we learn in specialized training is poisons and toxins and all these other things. So I knew, I was like, just dose me up really good on sodium pentothal. Let me drift away. I do not want to live like this. I'm 19 years old and my life is over. Dreams of pararescue completely shattered at that point in time. I mean, even staying in the military at that point in time, completely shattered. It's kind of funny. They don't want you after you can't move your arms and legs. So it took quite a bit. And thankfully, as I highlighted, that SEER training and that POW training came in so huge, because in between the management of life expectations from the doctors, which, I don't hold anything against them. It's the way that they've been trained. It's not that they're trying to vacuum hope out of you. It's just they want to be realists with you at that certain point and make sure that there's a real good chance you're probably not going to walk again. So in that moment, or in between those moments that the doctors or nurses were coming in, I had finally settled into that point of, there's always something you can do. Why are you giving up now? Why are you giving up on this? You know that there's always something you can do. Always try to escape. Always try to evade. Always, always, always keep pushing forward. There's always one more thing that you can do. And in that moment of that self-speech, Doc walks in again and wanted to talk about some of the blood work and some of the possibilities, all the way to the point of ordering like a special wheelchair for me and some other things. And just something hit me at that point in time, because I was in the middle of like really jazzing myself up and juicing things up to the point of, no, this is not going to be my life. I can't. This cannot be it. This cannot be all. There has to be more. He jams in and starts talking to me. And in that moment, I just gave him the most emphatic, fuck no, Doc. In that moment, the moment I said, fuck no, the brachial plexus lit up. And the brachial plexus is this large collection of nerves. It's this nerve point right here in your shoulders. And that lit up, and I just felt this tingle that went right up my scalene muscles. And the moment that happened, I understood, okay, what you thought is now an opinion, because now I feel something happening here. There's something happening here that you told me was impossible, or most likely never to happen ever again in my life. So once that happened, that's when I started really digging in. I continued with that mentality. And as we know, when you act in that desire already being fulfilled, the universe will move mountains and planets for you to make sure that thing finds you, because it's looking for you as well. And lo and behold, I wake up on that next day, and my physical therapist comes in to get me started on some, really good stretches and everything else that he was going to work me through. And he's an Ashtanga yogi. Think about the possibilities of a military physical therapist in the 90s being a yogi on top of everything else, teaching yoga and breath work. And that was exactly what he imparted upon me. So on that third day, I got to do my first breath experience. And as many of you have had in your own breath experiences, that first one was like, what the hell was that? Holy shit. Let's do that some more.
Let's fucking go. This is exciting, man. Sorry. This is
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it was the most exciting thing for me. Well, and you can imagine too, right? So Doc walks in, Phil walks in, and he goes, all right, I'm going to propose something. It may sound a little strange to you, but besides your typical stretches that I'm going to work you through, because whenever you're dealing with either quadriplegia or paraplegia, you have a lot of issues. There's things like hyperflexia. I mean, you can move, somebody else can move your limbs further than they're supposed to go. You have a lot of issues that come along with that. So working through the physical therapy is a very important aspect of that. There's several in here right now that understand that more than anybody. But he came in and he said, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to teach you yoga and breath work. And I just stared at him. And he goes, what? And I'm like, dude, if I could move my legs right now, I'd fucking kick you in the face. Yoga? Like, you walk into the room and insult me? The first thing, you don't want to introduce yourself. You just want to talk about yoga. And of course, that's what my Western view of what yoga was, right? And then he laughed for, quite a bit, actually. That made him almost roll on the floor. And then he said, he imparted on me. He was like, listen, yoga is not what you think it is in this Western culture and the way that it's been portrayed. Inside of yoga, we have what's called sutras, or threads of knowledge. And out of 196 sutras, or threads of knowledge, 4 of them are physical. The rest of them are all about what's called pranayama, or in Chinese medicine, the Tao, and all those other things, qi. So prana is life force, or qi. Pranayama is the control of your breath to control or move that life force, which is what you're doing, and pull the body out of the mind, right? So that was my first introduction. And once he told me that, I was like, okay, all right, that makes a little more sense, because obviously there was no me on a yoga mat doing Warrior One or anything while I'm laying in a bed. So we started doing these breath techniques. And of course, after that first one, after getting that, what the hell was that? I dug in like a tick. I was doing this like 7-8 times a day, even when he wasn't there. Friends would walk in and they'd hear or see me breathing, and they'd just walk back out of the room and give me a moment and then come back in when I was done. Because I dug in, and it was amazing because every time that I did the breath, there were little pieces of me that were coming back. And within that first 2.5 weeks, I had a good majority of my upper body back. I had what Dana so lovingly noticed in me still and called quad flippers. So I couldn't get really fine motor skills at that point in time, but I was at least starting to get the trunk of the body back. And this is where I say I was thankful in my injury being different than a lot of spinal cord injuries that are out there. A contusion is much different from a compression. A compression is exactly what that sounds like, a complete compression of the spinal column. Or even a complete, like some of our other warriors have, which is where the spinal cord actually gets cut. So I was lucky in that sense of things, but within the first 2.5 weeks, I had most of my upper body back. It took me about 2.5 months to get most of the sensation back. There's a difference, and this is another thing you can ask from anybody dealing with this as well. There's a difference between getting sensation back and motion back. There's sensory and there's motory nerves, and there's motory and sensory information that is processed by your neurological network, right? So I got most of the sensation back in my body in the first 2.5 months. It did take me about 2 years to finally limp away from that on a cane. But from that point forward, it took me about 5 years to get everything back, minus some neuropathy and like the feeling on the bottom of my feet. That's part of the story as well. That didn't come back until the Dr. Joe Coheal. What do you know? But it was the most challenging point in my life and also the biggest blessing in my life. Because if that didn't happen, I know that I would have went to Hell Week. I know I would have passed. I was just one of those guys that was tuned and built, so I thought, for the military. It was in my blood and it was in my genes. So I knew I would have passed and I would have became one of these amazing special forces operatives, but then I would have turned into my father. I would have completely went down the same path of seeing and dealing with things that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemies, and constantly taking life and always being on that opposite side of the energetic spectrum that we're all used to being. I mean, you can imagine we're on this side of things. You can imagine what a soldier feels because it's his duty. It's not something he chose to do. It's not like he joined up thinking that was what he was going to go do. It's just you are there to perform a job and to make sure that the man or woman to your left and right make it back with you alive. So it was the biggest blessing in my life, which is where, like I said, most people look at me like I got a horn growing out of my forehead because they ask me how I can be thankful for being paralyzed. And that's when I tell them this story and the fact that if that hadn't have happened, then I wouldn't have found ways to overcome not just physical stress and physical degradation, but also mental stress, because it didn't stop there. You can imagine. Yeah, I found a way to heal my body, but the mind component hadn't landed just yet. So a bit of a mess. The issues that happened, that last mission especially, continued to plague me to the point where the night terrors got so bad that I was just an insomniac. I maybe got 20 to 30 minutes of sleep a night. And then through the day I was a zombie because the military had me on, 8 different antipsychotics, antidepressants, benzos, you name it at that point in time. They were just throwing it at me to make sure that I could numb whatever the hell was going on. Because that, not as much now, still kind of is, but that's their typical approach. Oh, you got a problem? Here, let me give you a pill to take care of that. Oh, that pill's created a problem. Let me give you another pill for that problem that pill created. And then it just becomes this constant thing where they're bouncing you through things. So after a while, I became very dependent on that medication. Like you've probably heard from most people who have dealt with addiction, all the way to the point where it wasn't cutting it. I had to take more and more and more of these pills to get the same effect that I was getting before, or to numb myself and be the zombie that I was, because that's literally what I was. For a good 10 years after I got back up on my feet, I was a zombie. The only feeling that I could feel on a regular basis was rage. I was just a rage freak. Anything would set me off. I had no compassion inside of me whatsoever at that point in time. I was just trying to numb and turn this thing off constantly. And I recognized that I was completely disconnected from my heart in that point in time. So at a certain point, when the drugs aren't cutting it from the doctor, you look for the drugs on the street because those are easy, they're readily available, and most of them are pretty damn cheap when you look at the ones that I really got into. One of the first ones that I started off with was meth, moved me into crack, and then eventually found my way into heroin, which was that was my life for a good 6 months, was just numbing, just literally a zombie. Would wake up just to get my fix and then pass out once again, and then wake up just to get my fix and then pass out once again. It was the only way to numb everything that continued to pop up inside of me from what I had dealt with. Thankfully, one of my friends, like the last one, because one of the things that happens when you're an alcoholic and when you're an addict is you ostracize and completely go off on everyone, especially those that are close to you, right? So you estrange your entire family. You estrange your whole friend network. It basically backs off. Understandably so, because in those moments, especially when you're dealing with a lot of those opioids, you're basically dealing with the same side effects or symptoms that a paranoid schizophrenic is dealing with. You hear things that aren't there. You think things that aren't true whatsoever about like a friend, them taking something from you, or they hid your pills or whatever else, when actually you just took the last couple of them. And now it's easy for you to forget that because your addiction and your alcohol have just destroyed your brain, completely messed up your memory. So thankfully I had that one friend that took pity on me. I'd become homeless at a certain point, got evicted, was out on the streets for almost 2 weeks. And that's when he found me. And once he saw me on the side of the street, he was like, dude, get in the fucking truck right now. So he put me in the truck, got me back to his house. Didn't just take pity on me. And there's emotions of joy coming up. These are like tears of joy and compassion. Cause man, when that one person throws you the rope, when you think that you're out and it's done, it's everything. It was absolutely everything to me. And I still struggled from that point forward with addiction, with alcohol. But because he did what he did, it put me in a totally different mindset. It at least allowed me to just take a view of myself and recognize the wreck and the mess that I had become after everything that I had overcome. And that's what hit me, is that training came back once again. Like, look at you. You're trapped in your own prison. What have you done? There's always a way to escape. There's always a way to evade. You're never out of this. There's always one more thing that you can do. Here's your shot, Leland. Take it. So I did. I started down the DT path and detoxifying myself, which was one of the hardest things to ever do, especially coming off of heroin. That was like 2 weeks of absolute hell. The shakes, the just uncontrollable vomiting. At a certain point, I couldn't even walk to the bathroom. I had to drag myself there by my elbows because I had no energy left in my body. It's amazing what the body will do when it wants its fix. Like, it will not only shut things down, it will fake pain. It will do anything that it has to do to get you to take the thing that it's become addicted to. So it was one of the toughest parts of my life, for sure. Thankfully, I had come back to the breath again, because you can imagine, as an alcoholic and a drug addict, I didn't have much time for healing breath work. So kind of fell off of that horse there. And went through it. It took me a good 8 months, I would say, to like completely get myself clean. Had a couple of, fall offs here and there. Thankfully, I didn't go back to the big stuff, but, I would take a Vicodin or a Percocet or something like that here and there, because the pain was just so much. The body was just continually speaking in its addict type way that it does. So I numbed it down a couple of times, but within about 8 months, I got myself clean. And from that point forward, I had decided, okay, we need to do something with all this information that you've been given. I mean, you've been given all of this information. You've overcome what you've already overcome. You've overcome the physical side of things. You know that there's ways to heal the body. You've used the breath now to help get off of the addictions. You've done this on both the mental and the physiological side. Why aren't you putting this in so that you can share this with everybody else? One of those, why hide the light when you find it? Share it with the whole world. And that was when I started back on my studies. So I started studying neuroscience and psychology. Psychology, of course, more for me. It's my favorite part about psychology. Psychology is all about patterns, right? Understanding the patterns that our unconscious memory is programmed with, and how we have attachment styles, and how we can actually use psychology to step into the higher side of psychology, which is metacognition. Noticing those patterns, noticing the way the mind works, noticing what your patterns are, and then stepping above that and taking that even further to shift those patterns. Like what we're doing with Dr. Joe's work, right? Shifting that story, shifting those patterns for yourself. So started with the neuroscience and psychology, and decided to also become certified in yoga, because the guy that started me on this was a yogi, and obviously they know some really cool breath techniques. So I might as well dive deep into that whole side of society and find how deep this breath well goes. And my God, does it go deep. There are hundreds of breath techniques out there. There's not just one. I promise you that. There's not just mine. Mine are all based on ancient techniques anyway. So technically they're not mine. What I've done is I found the pattern, the timing, the way of breathing, the certain amount of holds, neurolinguistic programming built into it, the music aspect. Like we know whenever you use those vibrations and you see the sand vibrate into those really amazing patterns, well, the same thing happens with the synapses inside of your brain whenever music is playing. We notice whenever music is playing that we see whole brain activity, right? Whole brain function takes over. So not just one region of the brain is happening, the whole brain is lit up. So it allows you to help dive in. It's just pieces of the puzzle inside of the Welcome Home method to help really shift the way that the neural network is firing off. But in that same way that you see the sand vibrating into those patterns, that's happening while the music is going on, while you're doing the breath work. And that's what I'll do is I'll make sure I save enough time for you guys to play a 15-minute practice if you guys are down out of our psychedelic series. It's one of our newest series, actually.
We are down, my man.
I figured as much. So that was, yeah.
Thank you.
What's that? Go ahead.
I said we are down and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can continue from there, but I don't want this to just be a solid lecture. So please, any questions, pop them into the chat. I have not been keeping up with the chat, or, whatever, if you want to.
Yeah. So
however you want to run that, Robby.
yeah. So let's actually, everybody raise your hand with the emoji hand if you know how to do that. If you have anything you want to say, please do it vocally. If you want to throw it in the thread, do that as well. But yeah, no, this is your time to tell your story too. So don't hold back at all. This is the platforms for you to keep sharing if you want to do that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I just like interaction. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to please keep going. Okay. I love it. All right. So, if questions pop up, if I miss it, please let me know. Layla, we were talking earlier. Hello, my dear.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you. So what a great story. Wow. That's hard to hear. I can't imagine living through it. I know you do a lot of work on your website, but I don't know that much, but I know you have a lot to offer. You have a lot of offerings, and I was just wondering if you could share. I think there's like a membership. I don't know what your website holds, and I just know it's good, and I've tried it a few times and I really like it. Mm-hmm. So I just don't know how to access, what you have.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a great question. So we do have the website. There are memberships. That's all going to shift here very soon because we have some very brand new programs for you guys that are coming out by the end of this month. So all the memberships are shifting, but right now, if you grab a membership, one has 3 practices included, one has 5, the other one has 10 practices included, or you can just grab the individual downloads as well. We also have, for right now, I have left a majority of a good part of our practices on our YouTube. I think there's 3 on there that we're leaving. We're going to leave the SCI one on there, which is spinal cord injury and neurological disorder practice. That one will stay on YouTube as just a free offering. It's an hour-long practice. So that is the one I would suggest that we were talking about earlier. No mouth breathing, though. Nose.
So that would be like if somebody had a stroke and they're for paralysis or for depression?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Really, really, really great one for that. In fact, I'm working with a Navy veteran right now, Robert, who had a serious stroke. Right side of his face is numb, and he's dealing with audiophagia. So, yeah.
That's my brother. He just waved at you, Phil. He's the man that I'm talking about.
Hey, what's up, Phil?
When you recruit participants, I don't know how to find out about that, but we would be interested.
It'll be blasted all over the rooms and groups, I promise you.
Okay.
When we start, when we start with these research studies and we're ready for you guys to hop on with us, we'll let you know right away for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Leela, really quick before Lauren goes, can we get a raise the roof? You ready for that? Go.
Thank you.
Good job.
What's up, Lauren?
Hey, Leland. Thank you. You are really helping humanity. I contacted you a while ago about my friend's nephew in Spain. And I wanted to know if the veterans that you're working with who have severed spinal cords, if any of them have gotten back to walking. I mean, I know nothing's impossible, but I'm just curious about their experience doing your work.
The couple of complete injuries that I am working with personally have not gained the ability to walk back. One of our complete injuries has noticed new or enhanced vasculature down in the ankle area, which is huge. That's like one of the furthest points away from the cervical area. So the fact that he's experiencing something like that is pretty epic. Another one that I'm working with, as well as feeling sensation, at least below the hips where she has not before, and some other things that are happening as well. So that sensation part, the sensory part, is coming back for them in ways that they were told, just like me, it's not going to happen. Sorry, complete injury. You'll never, ever, ever get it back, kind of thing. So that's something we want to dive into further. Way further. That's one of, obviously, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about our spinal cord champions. Since I was only there temporarily, but like I said, ask anybody that has dealt with paralysis. 1 hour is sheer hell. To not be able to move parts of yourself that you once had is just, I can't even describe how that is mentally. So that's something we're going to continue to work on. And we're definitely going to be doing some research on that.
Awesome. Well, I planted a seed with my friend and I will water it again, and I'll be in touch soon and keep you posted. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Beautiful. Yeah, so we will have, we'll have, not only are we have that research coming up, but I'm actually, so you guys can get super excited about, hey, there's one of my spinal cord champions raising her hand. Look at that smile. I love you so much. Oh my fucking God. She's one of my favorite people. Anyways, sorry.
I love you. I just wanted to let everybody know that I've been doing the breath work, and I am one of his spinal cord team. I have an incomplete injury, and I broke C1 through C5 and started out at basically the same level he did on respirator. And with the breath work, I've noticed more sensation, more circulation, and I'm getting more movement that's more fluid. So yes, it's working, and I just wanted to give you a shout out. So
so excited for you. I love you so much.
Thank you, Dana. Woo.
Love it. Oh my God, that's so fucking exciting. That's why I do this work. Oh my goodness. And she is one of our warriors, like for reals. Navy veteran, that one. Oh, goodness. One of these times you got to have Dana on. You want to hear her? You want to hear her story? Holy shit.
Dana, you heard that.
That woman is like one of the Marvel characters. I swear to God.
Let's go.
Dana's Marvel movie will be out next year. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, if there's any more questions or anything, pop those in there and I'll keep on with my story. Cause you would think that was it, right? Nope. More to go. So finally overcame my addictions, finally overcame the alcohol. I was a now 500-hour RYT yoga instructor and Hatha, Yin, and now Yoga Nidra as well. And I was starting back on my school, for some reason I had quit doing that, which I am still carrying on because for some reason I quit that back in the day, but it's okay. Now I get to study the things that I'm viscerally connected to and really get excited about. So, moving on from there, 2016, was the next speed bump for me. My father had, found his way into the forests of Washington, decided that he couldn't take it anymore and decided to opt out. So on my birthday, he went missing. It took us 2 weeks to find him up in the forests of Washington. And he was one of our, and you can't really see it too well, I think, on this camera, but he was one of our 22 suicides a day. And you can see that 22 behind the I got your 6. So that's for him. And we also have, he's with me all the time. I wear him on my arm, to my father, separated by death, together by love, and it's all in his handwriting. So that was 2016. And that one, that opened my eyes up quite a bit. It still kind of gets me occasionally now, but that's why I'm doing this work more than anything. Is started the nonprofit in 2019 called Warriors for Life America. That's our sister company. But that was when I had, it woke me up. It's like, dude, you made it out of this. You made it out of the darkness. You made it through the storm. Let that be the closest warning signal or red flag in your fucking life. Your own pops just took himself out. You might want to take what you've learned and start getting it out there for your brothers and sisters. At that point in time, he wasn't the first. You can imagine we lose now upwards of 44 a day. That's 33 every minute, or 1 every 33 minutes. That is committing suicide. So it is an epidemic amongst veterans. I mean, suicide itself has become like a worldwide epidemic ever since COVID, but inside of the veteran community, it is especially high. And you can see why with everything that we go through, all the things that we see. So that was my wake up call. Like, dude, you got to get this out there for your brothers and sisters. You're doing well. You've made it through all of this stuff. Why aren't you out there teaching this to them? So I had decided at that point in time that it was time to get things going. And wouldn't you know, there was a little bit of a challenge that got thrown in my way within the month after my father's funeral. I had to go into the doctor because I was having extreme cramps. I mean, to the point where I can literally tell you ladies, I understand what PMS is like. I promise you. Because it felt like somebody was taking my organs and just doing the Indian rug burn inside and like twisting them in and out and in and out. And it was just this cramping that I'd be in the middle of public and fall to my knees because it was so bad. And then of course the blood was the next tell for me. So I went in and got a colonoscopy, and after the colonoscopy of, Russ, you will know this as a physician, by the time colon cancer rears its ugly head symptoms wise, it's usually because it's already in stage 1 or 2. So for me, after the colonoscopy, found that I had a 1.3 centimeter tumor that had lodged itself into the inner wall of my sigmoid colon. And that one kind of threw me down the stairs, of course. I had figured, like, really? Like, fucking for reals? Serious? Like, this isn't, come on, man. So, of course, I had a little righteous indignation there. I was a little upset about what happened, or that I had to deal with another challenge after my father had just committed suicide on top of everything else that I had already been through. Like, come on, bro. At that point in time, they were talking about one of the courses of actions is they could do what they call a J-turn, which is where they essentially cut out about 6 feet worth of your colon. And I would be using the bathroom in a colostomy bag for the rest of my life. That was an absolute hell no from me, of course. There's no way you're cutting on me or doing any of those things. Then they started talking about chemo and radiation. And I had remembered what my grandmother went through and what she looked like. And there was no way I was going to let my children see me like that. I have 3 kids, now 4 grandkids, 3 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. But at that point in time, there was no way I was going to let them watch me waste away after just getting me back. I mean, Dad was an addict at one point in time. There were all these things that had happened. So they just basically got their father back. I'm not going to let them watch me waste away. So I immediately got on to essentially the Gerson diet, not completely the Gerson diet, but just started eating an alkaline diet, a lot of intermittent fasting. At that point in time for pain, marijuana, of course, just to make sure that I could take care of some of the pain that was going on. And then I started getting into my breath work really, really heavily and looking up even further how to create more of an alkaline environment inside of the body, because cancer cannot survive inside of an alkaline environment, right? Over long-term periods, alkalinity is going to break down that myelin sheath that is around cancer cells, as well as heavily oxygenating the body. Oxygen is oxidative. So of course, in that same way, higher oxygen, alkaline environment inside of the body, eating a little, a lot better, especially with the intermittent fasting and everything else. Took me 18 months. And without surgery, without chemo, without radiation, I literally pooped my tumor out. It's a little TMI for you guys. But Dana's clapping. Yeah. So yeah, within 18 months, full remission. Of course, they list things like they always do in those moments. Spontaneous healing. We don't know how he did it. Moron, I could tell you how I did it. You want me to? I got a journal. I'll show you how I did it. They didn't want to hear any of it, of course. They didn't want to talk about it. They didn't even want to dive into the subject. This is the VA, Veterans Affairs. They do the best healthcare in the world, right, Dana? Yeah. So that was that challenge. And then I was like, sweet, dude. All right. I've been shot out of the cannon plenty of times. I think I'm good, right? Nope. I had one more to go. And I'm knocking on wood, because that's the last one. Universe, no more. Thank you. I've got things to do. 2019. I look up, you know how your phone goes off and you didn't answer the text message, but you just looked over. And the moment I looked back just in time to go, shit, boom, head-on car crash. Some moron decided to turn from the left lane to take a right-hand turn, which flipped him into oncoming traffic. And I just got to be the lucky son of a bitch that found the front of his grill with my car. So once I came to, it was interesting. For a moment, for a split second there, when I came to, my ears are ringing. There's gunpowder smell in the air. I was like, what the fuck? Did I just get transported back to combat? What's happening right now? Like, am I in war right now? What's happening? And it took me, a good minute or two to come to. But when I came to and finally figured out what the hell had happened, my engine sitting in my frickin' passenger seat, I'm stuck in the car myself. The firefighter had to wedge the door open to even get at me. And then the moment that he pulls me out of the car, because I couldn't do it by myself, he just gently tries to get me down to the ground. And I recognized, holy shit, my legs don't work. So I fell to the ground because he wasn't quite ready to support all of my weight. And that's when it settled in. I was like, you've got to be fucking shitting me right now. I can't feel my hips or my legs. What in God's name? So L4, L5, vertebral impact, right on the spinal column, shut everything down from the hips down. You can imagine I was a little fucking pissed off. I was just a little bit mad, a little bit indignant in that point in time, a little angry. Thankfully, it only lasted the ambulance trip to the hospital as far as the anger went. But on the way there, I was getting a pep talk from the EMT, who's a firefighter. And, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him. And I didn't guilt or shame myself, but it was one of those things where I recognized, I was like, do you hear what he's saying? Like, he's saying all the things you say, but not what you're saying right now. Like, do you want to change that story? You obviously know that this isn't going to be your life, no matter what they're about to tell you. This is not going to be your life. You've already overcome this before. And this time, it's waist down. So you've got half of the battle already fought. You're good to go. You don't have to deal with the whole thing that you dealt with before. Not to mention, it wasn't near the injury that it was when I had, hurt myself and the neck injury had happened. So, it's this interesting thing when, especially the spinal column turns off and shuts down all the peripheral nervous system. It's like taking yourself back to being a baby. Your body literally will let go and those signals are forgotten. So you have to relearn each and everything. Thankfully, in 2017, somebody gave me this really amazing book called Becoming Supernatural. And at that point in time, besides my breath work, I had started doing Botech like it was going out of style. I mean, in the hospital here in Vegas, they actually called a code blue on me once because they come in the room and I'm doing the pull the body out of the mind breath and my eyes are rolling into the back of my head and my head is doing its flipping chicken thing. So they literally, I heard code blue go out over the hospital. My nurse is jumping on top of me and I'm like, what the fuck? Bro, I was right in a good place. I was doing it so much. They finally got it, but you can imagine that first one for the nurse was like, oh my God, something's happening. He's dying. So it was kind of funny for that to happen in the hospital, but I had Dr. Joe to walk me through this time. And within 7 months, I will give you the same thing I know that I'm going to see from Dana and Russ and Rudy and all of our spinal cord champions. Within 7 months, yes, I'm partially cheating. I have somebody holding on to me. A little wobbly. Yep, I almost fell right there. You could see it. Feet didn't want to quite flex or extend, they just kind of did their own things, but just the ability to be able to do that for the first time with help within 7 months was, again, all I needed to remind myself that I have the tools not only to overcome anything I need to overcome or want to overcome, that I need to share this with the entire world. So you can see where Dr. Joe's little boot in the ass in September in Niagara was exactly the fire that I needed under my ass, and I kind of noticed that because Niagara was, I think, my 6th one, right? And my first time volunteering. And Dr. Joe noticed it. He saw me in Cancun and gave me the biggest hug. And he's like, I love you. You're always so attentive and you're on this work. Keep going. You're going to find everything that you want. And then in Niagara, it was a different message. It was, I love seeing you at these things. But when are you going to add your own magic to the universe? And that was again, from beginning until end, where we find ourselves today and why we get to practice the welcome home method.
My man. Really quick, I just want to give a huge, let me get the whole full screen here. Big round of applause. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you just shared. I think everybody in this room knows you and now knows you a lot more. So thank you. Seriously, so magical.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right. So anybody who has any questions, I'm going to go through the thread soon. But if you have anything you want to say, please, Kevin, I see your name's up, your hand's up right now.
What's up, Kev?
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah.
Dude, every time I was thinking, no, not another thing. Like, it's just incredible, man. Just the story's remarkable. The question I have is more of a technical question regarding the breath work. I know you talked about just creating that oxidative state and even talked about the myelin sheath. I was just thinking around the dosage of breath work. Is there ever too much? Is there ever a possibility of doing too much?
It's especially if done in the wrong way. Yeah, there's so the Chinese inside of Qigong and yoga, they talk about this as well. It's called Ni Qi or adverse breath, either through the mouth or done unevenly, which whenever you do breath that's uneven, which is why I really warn people about experiencing other breath work. There's so much out there that's really, really great breath work, but I have to, for instance, pull my veterans off of Wim Hof method because it's sympathetic rich. So you have to be very careful with the breaths that are not even on inhale and exhale. So that mixed with, you can do long-term breath work as long as, again, you're stimulating parasympathetic and sympathetic evenly. But if done in the wrong way, yes, too much breath work can be very bad for you.
Okay, so it's about finding that balance, I guess, between the sympathetic and parasympathetic.
Exactly, which is why I dove in so deeply on the neuroscience and psychology side. I didn't want to be that guy that just goes and gets a breath facilitation certificate. Like, hey, look, I learned for a month. I'm going to parrot what I learned from some other guy.
Yep.
Which, nothing against. Again, I'm not judging those folks. It's just that I understand whenever you read the Tao and the Upanishads and the Yoga Sutras, they talk about chi, prana, breath being the giver and the taker of life. Use it with responsibility. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it all.
You got it.
Beautiful. And thanks, Kevin. I'm going to go through the thread really quick because it fills up fast.
Yeah, I miss those all the time, especially when I'm talking. I get in the
right now. I got it. Don't worry. So from Susan Eve, have the chills. From Emily C, great story, Leland. Dana, amen. From me, let's fucking go. From Dana again, incomplete injury is when you can feel and or have function below the level of injury.
Yes.
And she also said your hands are way better than when she first saw you. Always more and another way, right?
You've noticed.
From Elizabeth, really nice comment here. Best healing story I have ever heard, Leland. Thank you so much for your transparency in service to all of us. Seriously, this story is just incredible. Just like the lot. Every time we do this, like you sharing it is going to help yourself, but the impact that it makes on everybody on these calls is so, you know what the deal is. It's going to impact in so many ways. So thank you.
My pleasure, literally.
Yeah, thank you. From Cosette, I am extremely grateful you are here to share your testimony. I appreciate your authenticity and vulnerability. You are fucking awesome. From Heidi, amazing. Heidi's actually the first person that told me I need to reach out to you. I remember that.
Love it.
Giselle, that's awesome. Giselle or Gazelle, my apologies. Allison Mupas, that's the best. Kevin Doyle, that's awesome. Travis and Panda, Gerson for the win. I guess that's a movie quote or something. I don't know.
A specific diet. Dr. Gerson created it.
Perfect. Thank you. From Angela Dutton, wow, Leland, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing your incredible story. Edie Britt, LOL, Code Blue. Allison Mupas, oh my God, that's hysterical. Giselle, gotta love Dr. Joe. From Kevin Doyle again, hell yes. Heidi, this is so friggin' awesome. You could say fucking awesome, Heidi, it's okay. From Allison, you are magic. Susanna Freer, just round of applause. Gisela, thank you. Anna Lorena, amazing story. Thank you for sharing. Soil, 3 hearts. Soil, miss you. From Heidi, thank you, Dr. Joe. Thank you, Leland, superstar. From Dathel, amazing. Natasha, you certainly became supernatural. Blessings and thank you, Leland. Lauren, from Lauren Wells, who had a comment prior. And Jeremy, I see you. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just go through this since pure inspiration, Leland. This is Lauren again. Pure inspiration, Leland. Your proof anything is possible. And thank you. And Lauren, thank you for writing that. Your proof is anything that is possible. Simple and plain, right?
That's all I ever want to be. I just want to be the open to other people that understand, like Dr. Joe says, it's possible. It exists for you.
Yeah, and your message was clear with that tonight too. Thank you, brother. Made me cry, laugh, and applaud. That's from Dana. Soil, again, thank you for sharing your story, Leland. All right, these comments are piling up. Jeremy, you want to say something?
What's up, Jeremy?
Man.
What you got, brother?
Listen, I just want to say, I know you said you were positively buzzing earlier, but I just wanted to, if I can do a compressed testimonial of appreciation for the quality of your character, your humility, your passion. You just model as a warrior man, the safety of connection and relationship, and you lead by example. And I love Dr. Joe, and the thing I loved the most about him was his integrity, but I never knew I was going to meet someone that I would love as much and be as close to and be as served as well as you have served me, man. I love you, brother. And I never heard all your story like that in one place. I've heard drips and drabs, and my mind was always kind of wrapped around this axle of trying to put it all together. But after 9 months of knowing you and having heard it all in this one place with all the details and all the data and all the facts together with your heart, your courage, and all the things I've seen you grow and do in all this time, man, it's such a fucking honor, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you too, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you. It's an honor to know you as well.
Jeremy, that was great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Real stuff. All right, so let's keep going. They keep piling up. So from Arsa, thank you, Leland. Absolutely speechless at your warrior spirit. From Tarina Cordy, such a magical story. Thank you for sharing. From Susie, what's up, Susie? Thank you so much for you being you, Leland. From Sunny, amazing journey. Oh, what happened? Oh, hold on one sec. Oh,
Yeah, my bad.
no, it's all good. I got it.
I was getting ready for the little 15-minute thing that I recorded for you guys.
Oh, thank you for that. We're going to scroll through this real quick so we could enjoy that. From Ilka Ocean, thank you so much for your incredible, inspiring story. Wow. And Ilka is a fellow Sunday Night Journey sharer as well. Margaret Beam, what was the name of the nonprofit? She would like to know if.
Oh, yeah. I messaged that to her. I should have put it in the chat. It's Warriors for Life America.
Great.
Yeah.
And guys, any information that that Leland mentions now, I'll make sure I post it within the Sunday Night Journeys as well, just to make sure it's permanent. From Heidi, thanks so much, and so much integrity in everything you take on. Really inspired. From Jill, what's going on, Jill? And if Noah's with you, say hello to Noah. What a profound journey. Thank you so much for sharing, Leland. So inspiring. From Kathy, my sister from another mister. I am in awe of your determination and commitment, not only to yourself, but to all. Thank you for your vulnerability. You are truly changing the world. So grateful to you. And from last week's Sunday Night Journey, and Kathy's also a Sunday Night Journey as well. Last week's Sunday Night Journey is Bev, who wrote, just beautiful, Leland. Wow, can you say resilience? So glad Dr. Joe nudged you to share your magic. Amazing. That one little nudge, right? That one.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
All right, so we got a couple hands up. Let's go Angela and then Thor.
All right.
Thank you so much for sharing tonight. I'm sorry I'm not on camera, but your story is incredible. And I've been to some of your breathwork sessions, which have been amazing. My question is, I know that you're certified in heart math now. I'm a heart math practitioner also. I've been one for a couple of years.
Love it.
But I just am interested in how that will add to what you're doing. And I've heard you speak a little bit about the heart math, so but I don't want to say I know because I don't. But as a heart math practitioner and a heart math lover, I just want to get your intake on that, or your input.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. We're actually working on forming a partnership and a hybrid right now with Heart Math, because inevitably, once I went through the Heart Math training myself and became one of the certified trainers like yourself, everything changed. Everything changed. I will share in here. If I share a file in here, will it let everybody download that file? Do you know?
If you put the file, if you cut and paste it into the chat, they can grab it. Yes.
Okay, cool. I will share one of the practices. It's a 60-minute practice. It is part of our psychedelic series, which is our new series that is being released next month technically, but really we're not going to unveil it until the retreat that we have in October. So I will drop that in. Let me see.
And if you guys don't know how to cut and paste all that stuff, just write that and I'll make sure I share it with you at the end.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah, I will. I'll find where I hid that inside of my computer. I've got a new computer here, so I just got to figure out where I saved it on this thing. But I'll share that with you. And to Angela's point, everything changed inside of the Willful Warrior. Jeremy, I think you've seen that change as well, all the way to the point where if it is a longer set, I bring you in with inner ease, so to speak, or something that is like inner ease, that technique. So for the first 5 minutes, we're just working on creating that heart coherence. Then we move in to the holotropic and the cyclic hyperventilation and cyclic sighing and all that stuff, all the modalities that are included in there. And then on the longer ones, like at the retreat, oh my God, those of you that are going to be at the retreat, it's going to blow your mind. We're going to do a 2-hour shamanic set, and it'll also be part of our psychedelic series. And just so you guys know, when I say the word psychedelic, when broken down, the etymology of the word itself, psych being soul or mind, and the delic part being mind manifest or clear. So psychedelics literally in ancient cultures, and to this day, a psychiatrist had actually coined this term, psychedelic, literally means to clear the mind or to mind manifest. So to be able to use unused potential inside of you. And while I am a proponent of, I help facilitate military members into plant medicine ceremonies. The biggest thing that I teach them is they don't need it. So that way it doesn't become a dependency. It's because we are the medicine. Everything we have. I mean, if you control the breath in the right way, you'll upregulate your anandamide, which is the bliss chemical. Anandamide is a neurotransmitter and neuromodulator, which is a subset of neurotransmitters that will upregulate your oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love hormone. It also upregulates your dopamine, all these other amazing things. And once you do some of these certain breath holds and breath types, you also activate dimethyltryptamine, the spirit molecule. And a lot of you talk about seeing colors whenever you're doing the breath work, because off of dimethyltryptamine, there are 5 other derivatives. One of them is a phosphorescent. And whenever that phosphorescent is produced, you might see some really amazing visuals. So inside of that 2-hour psychedelic set, the shamanic series that we're going to do at the retreat, we'll step in with an inner ease-like technique. We'll go through about 45 minutes of some really peak breath work, and then we'll settle. And then for a good 10 minutes, we'll walk through more heart math. So that way we can take all of that information, neurochemicals and hormones that have been created, and allow the nervous system and the cardiovascular system to hand all that beautiful information out. Because that's one of the things about some of the holotropic breath work that's out there. Again, I'm not judging. Don't take this as a judgment. As a scientist, I recognize that when you do these 2-hour to 3-hour holotropic sets, sure, it's emotionally releasing. But what we're missing is that rest point for the body. You need a rest point so all of that information can be handed out. Because if not, you're just running over it with a train and it's not being used by the body, right? You're creating all these amazing neurochemicals and neuropeptides and everything else, and then you just bowl right over it with the next breath practice. Like, well, okay, well, that was useless. So for us, we move in, we have those rest points in between the breath sets, but in the middle, right about the hour point, we'll sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, do our heart coherence again, and then we'll do another downward arc worth of breath where we're still peaking, but slowly move our way back down. And it's part of the whole psychedelic series, which you'll get a 15-minute little clip here in just a minute.
Beautiful. Well, you got 71 people in this room right now that are definitely going to your show after that speech.
And Thor, you are up. I can't wait to hear your question or comment. And for everybody who doesn't have them right now, you want earphones or a headset for this practice. I promise you, it is part of that psychedelic series. Just like you see with the sand, it vibrates into a certain shape or form. It does the same thing to the molecules inside of your body. Your molecules inside of your body respond to vibration just like everything else. What's up, my brother?
Oh, you're muted, Thor. There you go.
Leland, love you, man. I am just amazed by you and grateful for you sharing your story. And let me get the view on. So I'm looking at Robby right now.
And I love you
Robby,
too, brother.
Yeah, there we go.
You get enough of me.
I just want to sincerely thank you for being the example of possibility. And the quote that I shared at the beginning, greatness does not come from trying to achieve the possible. I would say that quote came to me today just because this is about you. And as I'm standing up and as I'm taking steps and as I'm moving through things, I think about you all the time. And I've been very grateful for like the messages that we've sent back and forth before. And I tend to, I'm trying to phrase my question and not dive into old stuff because I don't want to do that, but it's about possibility and it's about what I know I can do and what you've proven is possible. And so I'm just really thankful. I really echo everything Jeremy said. I love the way you show up to the world, man. And I don't know if I really have a question other than, I have lots of questions actually. Does memory come back? I mean, you're getting a double doctorate after being on, so many different addictions, and that's there's so many things I want to do and remember, and yet they seem to disappear very quickly. So that's one thing that came up. And then secondly, in the 25-minute breath work, I like to hold a lot longer. Is that bad to hold longer? Like I hold into the next breath.
I got you. You definitely want at least a little bit of a rest point, right? You want to give the body time to process everything that just happened, not to mention it's not per se bad. The longer you hold, actually, the longer that you're in that hypoxic state, right? Hypoxia is a lowered amount of oxygen. So the longer that you hold, the longer that you're hypoxic. Well, what we know is neurogenesis, the actual creation of stem and progenitor cells, cannot happen in an oxidative environment. So during those holds, and we're going to be doing a lot of research and study on this, because just like most of the stuff that's out there about meditation, besides what Dr. Joe and Dr. Patel have researched, a lot of it is speculation, and it's science. It's what we know, how we know the body responds. But that's one of the things we're going to move in and really, really test on the research side of things. Because when you're in those holds, that's when neurogenesis can happen. In that low oxygen environment, you've now hyper-oxygenated the body. You've also really upregulated the nitric oxide inside of your body, which is very healing. It's a vasodilator, opens up your arteries and veins, upticks and upregulates your immunoglobulin that kicks your T cells up, so that way you can fight off infections and bacteria. There's so many different things that happen during that breath hold that it's really not bad to hold it for long. In fact, that's how deep divers, they do this type of breath work. That's one of their breath modalities is deep divers will use this breath work to extend their breath holds, because breathing is based on the amount of CO2 that is inside of you. I just counterintuitively, we would think that its oxygen is low, so your body signals you to breathe. It's actually a heightened amount of carbon dioxide inside of your body tells your body that you need to breathe. So it's something that the body uses to free oxygen once it comes into the body. So it's when you can hold for longer and longer and longer, you're moving into that stage of a higher CO2 tolerance, which is epic, because that's what a lot of these deep divers do. Is they, like for me, right now I've gotten up to 6.5 minutes. My goal is to get to 8. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still struggling to get past that 7-minute point, but like you've experienced, you notice a very calm nature about it. So it's okay to hold. Just make sure you don't go right into the next round. You know what I mean? Give yourself a moment to exhale, because when that exhale happens and you feel that chill, that's when you feel that alkalining of the system. That's when the alkalinity happens, the oxygen and CO. So oxygen and CO2 composition inside of your body is truly the way that you alkaline your body. It's not, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not because of this. It's partially because of food. But mostly because of the amount of oxygen versus carbon dioxide that you have in your body. So taking those moments of rest is very important, at least to allow yourself to sit for about 30 seconds before you move into that next round. Yeah. You can hold as long as you can, as long as you're not fighting. If you're fighting, then you're pushing against it, and that's when it becomes adverse. So if you're holding like a champion, keep it up.
Lost for a while, and as a testimony for anybody who hasn't heard, I made peanut butter toast the other night, and that came to me. The fact that I could come do that was during one of those long holds that I felt it in my body. I was in another place, and I'm like, I can freaking do this. I can do that. I saw the whole thing happening. And then when I opened my eyes, I just knew that it's time for the experience to happen. I just saw it in the 5D, so now take it into 3D. And so I just took that in. And so it worked really well. So when I'm in that place, I like to hold as long as I can, man.
No, I love it. I love it.
That's the welcome home place. That's the being home place.
I love it, dude. You took the 5D and you mixed it with what's happening inside of the body in the 3D, because in those holds, another thing that's happening is you're also activating a gene inside of the body called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And BDNF creates a protein called BDNF. And BDNF is what we find in brain and spinal tissue. That's the main protein for brain and spinal tissue. So you're creating that as you breathe. It'll be one of the things that we're tracking. Now, thankfully, we can track trace amounts of that in the blood, and we don't have to go in and do spinal taps to test that. So we're going to be moving into that with some other neuroscientists. And Dr. Patel, I've been talking to him. He is super excited to be in on some of this research that we're going to be doing. So
I'm in as well. All right, man. Thanks so much, Leland. Love you, brother.
I love you too, brother. Thank you.
So we got a couple questions. We have David and then Leela. Let's after these two questions, we're gonna probably cut it off just so we can make sure everybody can enjoy this 15-minute treat that we have.
I got you.
But if not,
Thank you, Robbie, and Leland. Thank you so much. It was awesome.
My
I
pleasure.
did have a question that was raised by Jim's question. So I've been doing the work for a while, and lately I've been having a hard time where when you hold, like I just get so, so much going on, my psychedelic moment that I actually just lose. And when you say exhale, like there's nothing in there, like it just kind of, I'm out and I've already exhaled. Am I doing anything wrong, or is there any way to?
You're not doing anything wrong. What you're experiencing is what I still experience to this day. In fact, I did a big set with myself earlier, and I exhaled almost immediately because the body is naturally a survival expert, right? So the way that one of my professors put it to me, and it was the best way ever, is this thing is a lazy fucking addict, and this thing is a goddamn liar. So just knowing that, it will do anything that it has to do to make sure that it keeps you in your comfort zone. So like today for myself, same thing. I hit that point and it's like I was going somewhere and the body went, ah, and I exhaled. Nothing wrong with it. It's just the survival response of the body. What you can do is really check in with what you're holding tension-wise in the body. If you can let go of tension and let go of the mind, then you'll also, one of the other things too, is to put pillows all around you, because then that serves the mind. So put pillows all around you, be on your bed, something like that. So that way you can handle that story whenever you hold and the body's like, oh my God, let go. This is freaking me out. You're like, you're fine, dude. Even if you fall out, I'm going to fall into softness. Don't worry about it.
I've had the blood, sweat, and tears from the work before. And the snots too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I have woke up from my breath wearing much of what was once in my nose.
All right. Thanks, Robbie, and thank you, Leland. Love it.
You got it, brother.
Thank you, bro. And David, you'll be Sunday night journey coming up soon.
Thank you, Robbie.
Wait for that, brother. And quick shout out. I just saw Bev, who was last week's guest, and I just saw Brienne as well. Just want to say hello.
Love it.
So we have Leela, then Lala.
Love it.
Well, I'm sure the answer is yes, but as far as inflammation, the breath would probably help that a lot, huh?
So much. The inflammation is one of the first things that it helps, especially with the way that it shifts the biochemical profile inside of the body. So decrease of inflammation is one of the first things that we notice. And then one of the biggest aspects, of course, is the neuronal firing. So that synaptic activity that happens. So it's absolutely amazing for mental health, but physiological health as well. So to that, like our conversation that we were having earlier, neurological disorders, magical with breath.
Like depression and different things like that.
You name the neurological disorder, and breath work can help it, especially when you're talking about brain-derived neurotrophic factor, all the things that you're creating, neurochemicals, neuromodulators. It's amazing what we've seen. Our MS patients, we have MS clients and warriors that have stopped the progression of their disease. Jim is now taking it the other way and gaining back things, you know. So it's amazing to see that switch happening. And one of the big ones, like I told you, that we're going to do is we're definitely working with stroke patients coming up, aphasia, all of those issues. And for those of you, we mentioned that word. If you don't know what aphasia is, there's 3 different types, and one of them is you lose. So it's audio and visual aphasia is 2 of the main ones that happen, and it is a real disconnection for the brain between something that used to work the way that it used to.
And so like for autoimmune, that type of inflammation, could help with that.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
And Parkinson's too.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, Lala. La 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 la.
What's up, gorgeous?
Hi. Leland, I love you so much. I'm so glad that you came on here and shared with us.
I love you too.
And everything that you're doing is, I can just feel it from your heart, and it's big. It's really, really big. And I'm just grateful. I did have a question. Well, first of all, I noticed that John has had his hand up for
John
an
is
hour.
not allowed to talk. No, I'm just kidding. John, he's had it up since the call started.
He's really patient with whatever his question is.
I know. Give him the floor first.
No. It's been up by accident. It was up by accident.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I just wanted to know, are you, I'm sure you are going to be making new videos with now that you have some of the research and the updated information about the mouth, not mouth breathing and doing the nose breathing. Will that be anytime soon that you'll have those done? I'm still a little bit not 100% certain of. I asked you this question the other day, but I still I want to see you do it on video so I know exactly how to do it. The nose breathing, you said, I was asking you if it's like a hard sniff in or more of a back of the nasal passage in. And you said kind of somewhere in between, I think. But I feel like once I see you do it on video, I'll have a better understanding.
Yes. Yeah. We actually have a campaign that we're finishing right now, a series of short clip videos. We're redoing the whole thing. The website that you guys see right now, enjoy it while it lasts, because by the end of this month, it is going to be completely revamped. A whole new set of FAQ, the frequently asked questions. So you'll have short videos in there describing the breath work, how to breathe. We'll have every little intricate detail that we've learned over the past 8 months on what everybody's asking questions about. So we'll have a lot of those videos in there, as well as all of the videos right now that we have on YouTube. Now, as far as the SCI goes, I will always leave that one up. Like I said, that's my gift to the world. But all the other ones are going to come down because we're redoing the whole thing. We really are. And for the mouth breathing, the reason we're pulling that out is mouth breath can be powerful, but it's also an advanced technique inside of breath techniques. You have to know how to do it. You have to know how to create, that resistance with your mouth, or else it becomes Nietzsche, adverse breath. So that's why we're just kind of pulling that for right now, because we recognize we can put that in our advanced series, but for the basic series, for everything everybody's on right now, we want to revamp everything for you guys. Plus, I'm a scientist. Science changes. Proofs change. You find new ways of doing things. As a scientist, I am not about being right. I am just as excited about being proven wrong as I am being proven right, because either way, it's a proof. And now I have a direction and a way to head.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So yeah, by the end of this month, brand new stuff, including the psychedelic series, 30 Days to Better Sleep. We've got some really, really amazing programs coming up for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Good stuff.
Oh, and since she was the last question, I just have to highlight for you guys as well. I put in the events .thewillfulwarrior.org. You can check out information about the retreat. Also, I will drop in this file. And the reason I brought it up after her being the last question is because these two amazing people are going to be artists. So we'll have both Robby and Lala as artists at our retreat, because this is not going to be just a regular retreat. I've been at so many of them and been at so many Dr. Joe ones. I want you guys to have the lecture, the breath work, and then social hour afterwards. So we'll have dance parties, and Robby's going to be doing some DJ for us and doing some of his music. And then him and Lala are going to team up on the tracks they've been putting together. And Lala will do her amazing country act as well, and her singer thing. So I'm really excited about you guys being there. We'll have a closing concert. You name it. We are going to blow this thing out of the water in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. It's amazing.
It's going to be incredible.
Can't wait.
It's going to be incredible. Beautiful stuff. All right. So I want to make sure that we read everything. Because there's a lot of nice.
Yeah.
So
I'll gear up and get the track ready for you guys.
Perfect. And if anybody has anything to say, raise your hand now, and you got 30 seconds. But I want to make sure if you have something to say, I want to make sure that you are heard. Okay. So just put your hand up while I read. If not, let's breeze through this. So from Susanna Frere, you're very inspiring and generous, sharing your story and your work to anyone else overcome with each different movie case reality. Sorry, there's a part that blocked different movie case reality. From Lala, the most amazing story ever. Susie, your expertise, strength, and hope is beyond courageous. You are such a mighty lion. Lala, bless you all. Bless you for all you are doing to help others. From Margaret Bryce, thank you for all your great sharing. Really appreciate you. Christine Suchek, my heart is exploding. From Lynn, thank you, Leland. You inspire and bless us all. From Chris D. Hello, Chris. As a former Series School watch officer,
Yeah.
SERE school watch officer, great to hear the trained work for real life and not just as a POW. What an inspiration.
Love it. He's one of our SEER instructors. Those guys were badasses.
Let's go. Thank you, Chris. From Dathel, how do I get connected? Thanks. That was amazing. Christina C. So how do you get connected, actually? Sorry. I didn't have the information you posted, correct?
Yeah. So I've put in the flyer. We got a free masterclass on Thursday. You can come check us out. We've got the website. Also, that link that I put in for our retreat coming up in October, and our YouTube. Just type in The Willful Warrior, and we'll pop right up.
Beautiful. From Christina C. So grateful to have experienced this as my first Sunday night. Thank you, Leland. So much gratitude. You're an inspiration. Can't wait to share this with others. From Kevin, where and when is the upcoming retreat? How can we learn about this? Got that. From Arthur Roby, how do I register? Got that. From Christine Suchek, I see green. From Jamila, so grateful for this inspiration. Thank you, Robby, for holding this space. Tell us more about the retreat. Got that part. Interested as well about the retreat. Got that part. From Willful Warrior, events.thewillfulwarrior.org. Make sure you guys cut and paste that. It's in the thread right now. It's right at the bottom. From Heidi, yes. From Ilka, have to leave, but look forward to doing the practice with the recording. Thank you so much. And then the flyer from Willful Warrior. And Brienne, does breath work help with expressive aphasia? Aphasia or aphasia, Brienne?
Aphasia. Aphasia is so you have expressive, auditory, and visual. So it affects either the way that you see, the way that you hear, or the way that you can write and speak. So based on research and study that I have been doing, and this is off of neuroscience information, yes, it can be affected positively with breath work, especially because what we see, and not just the biochemical shift, but also the lowering of one of the most excitable neurotransmitters, glutamate. So glutamate is one of the neurotransmitters that, when out of check, can create havoc, as well as when people are dealing with aphasia, there's damaged neural pathways. So of course, from a stroke, with that issue of the lesions, those damaged neural pathways, from what we've seen on breath work, it can heal damaged neural pathways. It can also help create new neural pathways. So that'll be one of the things that we for sure want to include on the research, is besides taking occasional MRIs to check on the size of the lesions and all of that good stuff as well, but also tracking the writing, the speech, the hearing, and of course, visual sense as well as we move through the breath work to see the improvement in place.
And awesome. Thank you. Going to point my stepdad to you.
Beautiful.
A former colonel in the Army.
I love it. I love it.
And a couple other questions to go off of that. Is that after the stroke has happened, years prior to the breath work?
Yeah. So after the stroke it can happen. See, and here's the thing. So Dana knows this from personal experience. She dealt with her injury for 26 years. So of course the doctors are going to tell someone like Dana, no, you'll never gain it back no matter what you do. And in that same way, that's just what neurologists and all these other doctors have been programmed to believe, based on what we, oh yeah, I know. I've already actually contacted Bruce Willis's people. I'm waiting to hear back from him. Yeah, he has auditory aphasia. I believe he might even have expressive as well. But that's what we're noticing is that a lot of these doctors are just going based off the information they were taught. But when you dig into the neuroscience information, and to your question, Lala, beta amyloid, yes, it can help with all of those aspects, especially when you're talking about anything that's deficient inside of the body. The body itself is a natural healing mechanism. It just needs whatever catalyst to help switch that on for itself. So in the same way that they told me there's no way breathwork is going to help me with colon cancer, I loved that I got to prove them wrong with that, because it completely dropped certain horrible bad numbers inside of my body and then lifted the biochemical side that I needed. So in that same way, I am confident in saying that yes, we can help all of those issues with breathwork. It's safe to say that pretty much anything can be helped with intentional expression of your breath.
All right. Okay. So how does one sign up to be a study participant, for example, for brain cancer?
As soon as we get these things going, like it'll be post-retreat. We're actually going to be talking about them. October 10th through the 15th is our retreat. We will be talking about at least 2 of the research studies that we're going to be starting on. One of them is brain-derived neurotrophic factor and tracking that. And then the other one is going to be based on neurological damage or neurological disorders. So strokes, TBI, all of those things that people have dealt with. So those are the 2 big ones that we're going after at first. And then cancer will be right there following it as well, because we have several warriors. I will tell you this. We have several of our warriors who are fighting brain cancer, a whole list of different cancers, breast cancer. I'm trying to remember some of the ones that are out there, but they're seeing their numbers drop. Their doctor literally looking at them going, what the fuck are you doing?
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Thank you, Heidi, for speaking up on that. That was very important. Thank you.
You guys will know for sure. We're going to be trumpeting that shit from the top of the mountains when we're ready to do this research. We want all of you involved. We're going to have several control groups all the way to the point where Inner Science is going to be invited. Dr. Patel's already been invited. He's excited to see the proposals. So we're going to have like 6 to 7 control groups that we want to look at. The control group that doesn't do anything, so that we just have that base, but we'll also move everybody through those control groups as well. So that way, as we're looking at that, we get actual information off of the research study showing this is what happened to the people that just did meditation. Here's what happened to the people that did meditation, breath work, and all those things. So yeah, we're excited.
Hey, speaking from top of the mountain, I just want to give a shout out to Andrew Eckelin. I just saw you standing up and moving like crazy, my man.
There's one of our spinal cord champions.
Yeah, I just saw him up and moving. Let's go.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Are you guys ready to get high and twisted on your own breath? Oh, there he is.
He is.
I
I know I met Leland and a lot of you great folks at the national AFU. So that's yeah. Thank you for putting the spinal cord injury group together. It's really life changing.
Yeah, I love it, brother. I love it. It's my pleasure. We have a whole group of spinal cord champions. Andrew, Dana, Russ is in there, and it's growing. So I'm excited to work with all of you guys.
One of the things you mentioned early on in that group is just breath IQ, and yeah, it's funny how once you start going, it's like I just find myself stressed out and take a couple breaths and totally in tune with you know how it tunes in with the entire body. It's crazy.
Love it, brother. Love it. I can't wait. I'm going to see all of you guys walk across that stage to give me a hug.
So many dots connecting here. It's so beautiful. I'm going to grab my headphones really quick. I'll be back.
Yes, if you don't have your headphones yet, y'all, grab your headphones. Part of this is the vibration and the music that we select for all of it is carefully selected, but especially in the psychedelic series, it is all about certain tones to get the brain and the synaptic activity firing differently.
Recommend laying down, sitting up?
Sitting up. Yeah, this is it's just a 15-minute spot for you. So just a little example of what this can do for you.
Before we start, because I'm sure I'm going to be in another world by the end of this, I just wanted to, quick round of applause. Thank you so much. Such an amazing conversation. So much wisdom and knowledge, and just things that you shared for everyone. You're changing lives. So thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. It really is. Thank you.
All right. And guys, this will be recorded too. So let anybody know. Obviously, if you're new, just know we record all the calls and we'll share them as well.
Love it. And remember, for anybody that's scared of that word, it has been demonized by this culture. Psychedelic literally means clear mind or mind manifest. So you are the medicine is what I teach whenever I'm facilitating even plant medicine ceremonies. I make sure they understand before they even touch the plants. They do 2-hour breathwork session with me. And typically what I get is, what the fuck was that?
Let's all have one big what the fuck was that at the end of this.
Yes.
Together.
Yes. All good, Lauren. I got you covered, my dear. You travel safe travels. You will get to experience this. If you're there on Thursday, that masterclass, I'm playing this again. All right. Just let me know if you can hear this, please. Find that position that works for you. You can soften or close your eyes. Let's mute everyone. Let your hands just rest on your knees. And for the moment, sink in to now. The past and the future are just mental constructs. They don't actually exist. There is only here and now and now and now. Start to notice the body and the mind. No need to make any changes or any judgments. Just noticing. Notice where there may be tension, where the breath may be restricted. And how's the mind? Is it racing or calm? And again, no need to make any changes. Notice the shift that begins. Forehead and jaw release. shoulders fall away from your ears. Your hands become heavier and heavier. Give yourself permission to go all in, to breathe with sound and power. In and out through the nose, keeping the inhale and exhale even. Breathe in all the way to the top, all the way up and hold, all the way up and hold. Hold the breath. Release tension. Through the mouth, exhale all the way. In through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, out. With sound and power and tension. Keep the breath even on the inhale and exhale. Leave the neck and shoulders relax. Pull from the belly and inflating the diaphragm up through the chest and all the way up and out with the same intention. You're almost there, warrior. Continue to breathe. Everything you've ever wanted on the other side of that doubt and fear. Don't let the body stop you now. It's not concerned with your greatness. It's not concerned with your power. The tingles and tension, all normal. The muscle constriction, just signs that the body is activating processes and systems inside of the body, making that biochemical shift from stress hormones to happy hormones. Continue to breathe. Right around the corner from that greatness, warrior. Right around the corner from everything that you've been looking for. Now slowly breathe in all the way to the top, all the way up and hold, all the way up and hold. Hold the breath. Let go of tension. Release the mind. You go on the ride to the center of the universe, the center of you. You can continue to hold, and when you're ready, slowly let go. Release all tension. Sink. Settle. Surrender to the real you. Tune in to that connection, the oneness, the peace, the pleasure. Notice the calming of the mind. The power that you hold as the creator of your reality. Welcome home, warrior. Now that you've associated yourself with the real you, go in further with more sound and more power behind every breath. Breathe in all the way to the top. Breathe in all the way up and hold. All the way up and hold. Hold the breath. Release tension. Through the mouth. Exhale all the way out. In through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. With sound and power, continue moving into greatness, warrior. Allow yourself to build that power within. Every breath stepping you further in to the real you. Keep the breath even on the inhale and exhale. What you're feeling is normal. Don't let the body be the mind. You are the warrior behind the wheel. You are the cosmic captain behind this ship. Continue to breathe. You're almost there. Right around the corner from peace, from wholeness, from healing. Every breath stepping you into your power. Slowly breathe in all the way to the top, all the way up and hold, all the way up and hold. Let your shoulders fall. Let go of your mind. Go on that journey within. When you're ready, slowly exhale. Let go. Sink in. Slowly breathe in all the way up and hold all the way up. And slowly exhale through your nose, pressing out all of your air as you pull those bottom bathroom muscles in like you're restricting the flow of urine. Exhale a little further. Pull in the anus, perineum, belly button in and up, and slowly start to inhale. As you pull those muscles in and up, slowly inhale all the way up through the chest, all the way up to the top. As you pull those muscles in, hold the breath at the top, and now pull in and out. Anus, perineum, belly button, in and up, and in and up. Internal only, pulling in and up and in and up. Shoulders back and down, spine straight, pull in and up and in and up and in and up. And exhale, let it go. Welcome home, warrior. One more time. Breathe in all the way up and hold. slowly start to exhale. As you exhale, pull in those bottom bathroom muscles. Exhale, press out all of your air, pull in the anus, perineum, and belly button. Keep those muscles engaged and slowly pull those muscles as you inhale up through the belly, up through the chest. Continue to pull those muscles in as you inhale through the neck, inhale through the head, all the way up to the top. Pull those muscles in and hold, and pulling in and up and in and up and in and up and in and up. Continue to pull in and up and in and up, contracting in and up and in and up. Exhale, let it go. Tune in to that creation. Remember your power. You settle into that place of peace, creation, and beauty. You are powerful. You are beautiful. You are the universe in action. Just like a wave is something the whole ocean is doing. You are something the whole universe is doing here and now. Remember everything you've seen. Remember everything you feel. And slowly start to bring that back to a refreshed and revitalized body in a brand new time for you. Very slowly move back into the room, back into your body. Slowly wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. You can roll your wrists and ankles. And when you're ready, slowly start to open your eyes and come back to the world. All right, take your time. I know if you're feeling like I am, you went somewhere, so take your time coming back. Oh. Let that be proof of the power that you hold. Just your birthright. The moment you were born into this existence. The power that you came from the universe with. So in this mindset, I want you to keep in mind that everything that we see outside of us is just a representation of what's within. And I can prove that with neuroscience principles. What you see is maybe at the most 10% based on your eyes. The rest of it is unconscious memory. So you're literally hallucinating this life. You just get to choose what you would like to hallucinate. And I am going to pop in. For all of you that stuck it out with me and hung out this long, here's a little gift for you. Keep that to yourself. Don't spread it around. Well, I guess you can if it's in our Dr. Joe community or in the warrior community. I'm okay with you sharing that. That is a 60-minute practice of our psychedelic series, one of the first that we created called Surrender to the Power Within. You'll also notice inside of that psychedelic series practice that the heart math information and principles are built in to the practice as well, at the beginning, at the end, and throughout.
Leland, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Yeah.
You are so welcome. I love it.
Awesome.
love it.
Thank you so much, brother. That's so cool of you, man. Thanks for everything.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yes,
My pleasure.
thank you.
Thank
Grateful,
you.
grateful, grateful.
What the fuck was that, Leland?
Yeah. What the fuck was that?
There you go. That's our psychedelic series.
I forgot
Welcome
about
home, brother. Welcome home.
John, you have
I was-
a question?
I really want to know what John's wondering.
Anybody want to share? Go ahead. Raise your hand. Pop that hand up there. Share what you're feeling. Share what your experience was, please.
Yep. Feel free.
Yeah, I'm in no rush. It's my Sunday. All I got is homework tonight.
But I'll tell you a bunch of thank yous. I'll tell you that right now.
So Leland, I
mean-
held the breath that time.
You did it.
You helped me get rid of my fear. Yeah.
There we go, brother. There we go. It's up from here. It's up from here. It'll just get, it's funny because the brain and the body does that, right? And then once you push past it and you're like, oh, I'm fucking fine. Now your breath holds will get longer and longer. Like Jim was
Did you
talking
put
about,
the
like
soup in bowls or anything?
you start to look forward to it.
Leela's eating soup.
Oops, sorry.
Hey, Leland.
I haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm hungry. I'm like, I don't want to leave, but I want to leave. I don't know what to do.
Can I share something?
Yeah.
It's Lala. I have this experience sometimes when I do the breath work. I have hearing loss from the brain tumor, and over time since the diagnosis, it's gotten worse. But I've had like little bouts where it has like a large. It seems like a large chunk of it has gone at one time, and then all of a sudden, I have a lot more hearing loss than I did. But anyway, I have noticed sometimes during the breath work, two things, especially like sometimes during the release, I will have a moment where the tinnitus will subside, or even sometimes the tinnitus will just go away for extended period of time while I'm doing the work, and meditation too. But sometimes during the release of the breath, I'll have this moment where it's like my ear opens up and I can hear everything loud and clear in my ear for a moment during a portion of the release. Not every single time, but sometimes. And that lets me know that there is a way for my hearing to come back.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. That's your body showing you, because you intentionally controlled and directed the breath, that the lymphocytes are shifting. So that's where we know aphasia and hearing loss and all of these issues that are all neural based can be affected positively. So that's exciting. I'm glad to hear that.
Does tinnitus also fall into that category, Leland?
Yeah, because tinnitus it's an affliction of the inner ear, usually, like especially for soldiers like myself, it's from extreme explosions, gunfire constantly. You can get it from aphasia, from hearing loss as well. But yeah, in that same response, in that same respect, it is a neurological condition.
Awesome. I've done a whole lot of breath work. I've never done in through the nose, out through the nose. That was different. I really enjoyed that. What's the tempo supposed to be like on that when you're kind of building up to that hold?
It shifts, and that's the thing is depending on what you're going for. When it's a more healing breath, it's going to be a little longer, 3 to 5 seconds in, 3 to 5 seconds out. And in that way, it allows you to really focus on your breathing IQ, which is something we'll focus a lot on the first day of the retreat. And breathing IQ is all about range of motion and location of motion. So the more that you slow it down, the less you'll use these upper scalene, rhombus, and chest muscles to breathe, which that's not where we want to breathe from. The more you'll breathe from the belly, the intercostals, the diaphragm. And the more that you do that, you'll open that area up, increase your breathing IQ. And you'll notice, like for me, I take 5-second inhales and 5-second exhales. Like it's a long.
Okay.
But it's continual, right? The continual breath is the key. No pauses in between, just moving. And then that hyperoxygenates. And when you do those longer 3 to 5 second inhales and exhales, then you're pulling in more oxygen, you're pulling in more nitrogen, which then gets turned into nitric oxide by your body. And there's more of that biochemical shift that'll happen.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that.
You got it. And now you guys see why we are focusing on this psychedelic series. It was after this last plant medicine ceremony that we took 9 veterans through. And afterwards, them expressing that the 6 grams of mushrooms that they went through on the first day, the breath did the same thing for them the day prior. That was when the light bulb came on. I was like, oh crap. Okay. We've got to get a series around this, because psychedelic, when broken down, meaning clear mind or mind manifest, literally speaks to the unused potential that we have inside of us.
Yeah. And on that note, that's one of the biggest things I've learned. A lot of things I learned in Niagara. It was my first event, but one was, I'll use ecstasy as an example. We think we're taking a pill that we're popping that has something inside of us that makes us feel a certain way. But in reality, we're taking this pill that's activating what's already inside of our body and our mind. And it's the steroid to the muscle. It's the shortcut, but it also gives you an answer, and gives you a path, which I really like. And so just on that, a lot of experiences. Just I've done a lot of drugs in my life, and a lot of things happened to me in Niagara that were very parallel to the drugs that I took without taking a thing.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point. Anything that you take, it doesn't matter what the medication is, what the drug is, it's all a catalyst. You are a walking pharmacy. All of those things are just activating whatever systems are fitting into receptors to get a certain response from the body. So the body is actually doing the work. You're doing the work, not that pill that you took, not that drug that you took. It's you.
Beautiful, man. This was such a great call. Oh my God. I don't want it to end. I feel like it's not supposed to end. I feel like we're supposed to do something else now.
You guys are all champions on the East Coast, hanging out with us at 1040. Way to go.
We got the 5 a.m. meditation too. We're going to ride off this energy and just roll right into it.
I love it. I love it. And for anybody on the East Coast, if you have any issues sleeping, I want you to practice what's called body clenching. All right. So you can do one of my breath works. I actually have on the website a 15-minute meditation that's all for going to sleep. There's also one that has 8 hours of binaural beats and subliminal messages behind it as well. But when you're going to sleep and you're doing this breath work, as you inhale and hold, that very first one that I have you hold, pull in and clench every muscle in your body from your forehead down to your toes as you're holding, and then exhale, move into the breath, and then hold, and then sit, and then one more time. As you inhale and hold before you move in, clench every muscle in your body, really clench, and then let go, move through the breath. It just moves out excess energy and allows the body to sink right in for a restful sleep.
Wonderful. So a lot of information has been shared tonight. I just want to make sure everybody knows I'm going to regroup with Leland and make sure that everything that he shared, everybody has. from links to information to questions answered. We'll just make sure that we have all that for you guys with the replay that I'm going to post tomorrow or Tuesday, just pending time. But Leland, I do want to make sure that you, if there's anything else you want to share, the floor is yours. Not, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. If the only thing I want to share is if I missed any direct messages, because I'm horrible at checking messages when I'm doing these. I'm such a chatterbox, and of course I'm Italian, so I have to always use my hands and shit. If I missed any of your messages, feel free to find me on WhatsApp. If you don't have me on WhatsApp, hit Robby up. He'll put you in contact with me. Also, if you want to join the Welcome Home Warriors group, hit up Jeremy. Again, Robby can put you in touch with Jeremy and myself. Jeremy is the moderator of that group. And as far as any messages I might have missed, please definitely hit me up. We have several groups. We have Rise of the Phoenix, which is the military group, our military brothers and sisters. We have We All Rise Together, which is our spinal cord champion group. So I can add you to any one of those groups, and then Jeremy can add you to Welcome Home Warriors, which is our general group and gathering of Dr. Joe geniuses and warriors.
Great. And this is recorded right now, guys. So just know that you could listen to this again and get this information as well.
Love it.
Wonderful. I don't want it to end, but we'll end this, and it's going to roll into something else new. But as of right now, this call is going to come to a close. Thank you, everybody, for your participation, your amazing questions, your amazing comments, and your vulnerability on these calls. As always for these weeks, this is how it happens. So thank you, everybody. Leela, enjoy your soup. But Leland, thank you again for your time, for diving deep into your story. I think my favorite part of your story was your opening part of it, because it was your most vulnerable part, and it was just really, thank you for sharing that. Really, really gracious of you, because you'll change a lot of people just from them hearing that, as well as yourself. So thank you. And let's fucking go. This was incredible. We're gonna ride into next week. I think it's gonna be again, thank you, Bev, for last week. I think David Johnson's gonna be the guest next week. I just gotta triple check my calendar. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna cut and paste the chat as well. Leela got something quick to say.
Just, if you're gonna chat, because there's people that need you to add them to the group, so you'll see. There's thank you.
So anybody
there's my number as well. You can find me on WhatsApp.
Perfect. Yeah. So Leland posted his number. I'm gonna cut and paste this chat. I don't know how to save it. It goes to like some OneNote cloud thing that I've never been to. So I'm gonna cut and paste this, send it to myself. Anybody who is requesting to be part of the meditation group or the Sunday night journey, if you know somebody in the group, definitely message them, and then that's the fastest way to happen. But I will cut and paste this chat and go through it tomorrow. All right, everybody. So let's do anybody who's part of the community. On the count of three, we're going to do a rallying cry. First, just want to say thank you, Dr. Joe, for dedicating your life to this. If it wasn't for you, none of us would know each other in this capacity and be able to have these conversations that we're just building and growing off of. So on the count of three, so I guess if you know it, you know it. 1, 2, 3.
We don't do this because we have to. We have to do this because we want to.
Because we know we have to.
We know we
have to. We have to.
Amen to that. Love you all.
Love it.
Right?
Love you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robby.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Leland.
Good night.
Thank you. Peace out.
Love
Later.
you.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank
Love you
you.
guys.
Good night. Love you guys.
Right. There's a lot of comments I got to save here.
If you save the chat, I can show you where to go.
I'll do that. It does. Give me 2 seconds because I did it, but it goes to my OneCloud, and I'm trying to figure.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. You can go into the settings after this and like change where that goes to, or the save location, or whatever else. You can do that in the settings.
Okay. Yeah, that's that.
But it's easy. It's always easier. I've done what you're doing. I just copy the whole thing and then paste it into a notepad.
Exactly. Yeah, I literally just sent it to myself right there. But no, it would be a lot easier and more structured. So Leland. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I do have it. That's worst case scenario is I have all the information. All right, yeah. Thanks, man. What a great conversation. Really special.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for having me, my brother.
You got it. You got it. And yeah, we'll build off of this. I'll touch base with you sometime tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna go nerd out and do some probability and statistics homework.
That's what I'm doing. All right, brother. Have a great night. Everybody else,
All right.
have a great night.
Love you guys.
Eddie, have a great night.